Okay, let's now go ahead and refill all this for the Falcon. Need to get my hands on one so badly. 6,900 components down. 10 out of 10 number. Oh, come on, Gizmo. Can you please get out of my seat? I need this for this video. So what's going on, guys? This is Red Feather, and today is going to be a bit of an interesting idea. I had this video idea in my head, and I've never fully gone around to making use of it. But today I thought enough was enough, and I would go ahead and get to work. So if you can tell by the title, this video is going to be every single Gman stream, but it's only going to be reviewing about my concept and giving out his thoughts on it. And along with some commentary that will spice the video up. Hopefully. This will be a bit interesting, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And before I continue rambling on and wasting your time, all I can say is be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.
Okay, so we got the DM. Okay, guys, we're back. So we're gonna talk briefly about Toxin's new con.
Okay, before we go further, just note that was the original version of me. It used to be called Toxin before, but I am now called Red Feather. I rebranded. So y'all can tell me in the comments what y'all thought was better, Toxin or Red Feather. I'll have you decide.
Concept, and then once we get through this, we'll jump into my hangar and make some adjustments, and then we'll play some games. See if I can get a good game.
There's actually some history about the Bastion.
Yes, y'all, before you say in the comments, that's me speaking in the microphone. That was me talking to Gman for the first time in my whole career. Honestly, I will say, I didn't even say it to him, but I was very nervous. Like, I essentially had like a minute heart attack, because I don't know if I was going to accidentally say something bad, or just,
This was actually made prior to the Bastion returning an extermination.
Oh.
It is extermination, but y'all can call it that all you want. But I always call it the hunting grounds, because that's how it was when it first came out.
Okay. You want to walk through it? Why don't you walk through it?
Oh, what?
You want to walk through the...
Oh, so you mean like read it out loud?
Well, no, I'll read it out loud, and then if there's questions, we'll let you chime in, or you can chime in if my description is insufficient or whatever you want to call it. So basically, what we got here is Bastion. We all know Bastion. It was like this mysterious design that was left floating around on the internet for years.
I personally wonder how that came in your head, my friend. Not trying to be insulting, but how would you think that the fact that I made this, you founded the fact that this was lost on the internet? Again, not trying to insult, but I find that really funny. Despite the fact I clearly said in the chat during the time that I was the one that made this.
And then suddenly
it's actually like how I would think of the Bastion if it was turned into an actual robot in the game.
Yeah, okay. And then, then we all saw it get incorporated into extermination. But then
happy to see it back.
Yeah. But then so now Toxin's idea is to like actually bring it to the game. So
that's my idea with all the concepts I've worked on. Almost 20 of them, if I remember correctly. Maybe more. I may be young, but I'm sort of losing track on how many I'm making. Like, my brain is essentially the same as a prophet. Or something else. I don't know what it was I'm trying to speak of, but y'all pretty much get it. I was born with a big brain.
As players can use it.
That's honestly a theme with everything I made. A small side note is I've actually made enough work for almost about 20 separate updates.
Maybe 25 instead if we're talking to the current time. But there's probably going to be 26 since I do have a new robot in the works right now. Not going to spoil it, but I'm pretty sure Gman's going to like it once I show him next Wednesday.
Wow, it's a lot.
All doing this since 2019.
Been my dream, baby. It's been my dream.
All right, so we've got it's got an ability called Laser Assault. And what does that mean? It deploys autonomous laser turret that disintegrates enemies with a concentrated laser beam that deals increased damage to Titans. The longer you push the button, the further... Okay, so it's like launching a Mars turret or something like that. After landing, the turret will hover... While the turret is deployed, Bastion gets a 10-kilometer. Okay.
A tiny little tidbit I have between the Mars and the Bastion is that, unlike the turret from the Mars, the Bastion turret, instead of just staying on the ground, it actually hovers off the ground. And so you can, like, hit enemies towards cover that the Mars turret would normally not be able to. I thought that would be like a little cool quirk between comparing both the Bastion and the Mars.
And so Toxin, is this a regular robot? This is not a Titan?
Nope, it's not a Titan.
Okay.
I did have the idea to make a Titan that fights other Titans, but I don't know how that would perfectly work. I may have the big brain, but there are some ideas that I probably don't want to try and work. Like, I had the original idea of making a robot similar to the Newton, but instead of lifting the opponent into the air, it'll pull it towards you. I thought that would be pretty cool. I mean, the only reason I had the idea is simply to create some hilarious moments, like say like on Castle Map, you like throw a robot into the pit, and just with your ability. I thought that would be funny, but I remember that the Tesla weapons exist. They're gonna get nerfed, but I still felt like the idea had to get scrapped. Plus, making a Newton-like effect on a regular robot to the point where you can have 5 of them would definitely be a bit of an issue. So I decided to scrap the idea, and was actually one of the few concepts I made during the first time I worked on this.
Well then, I might as well go ahead and reveal the regular robots first.
Okay, okay.
Come after.
An undeployed turret will still fire at enemies for 7 extra seconds. Okay. After it returns. Reflector. For the duration of the ability, the robot has protection which partially blocks received damage and redirects it to the one dealing it.
Some small things I would go ahead and mention that there is while you know the Wyvern I gave was a reinforced one, the reason
Spoilers, the Wyvern will be revealed later. And also, during that, as well as that time when I did show the Wyvern to Gman, when he pronounced it Weavern, it doesn't matter how you pronounce it, but for the longest time, I've pronounced it Wyvern, so I'm not the one to judge on how you pronounce it.
I didn't give the Bastion a reinforced reflector is because while sometimes I go back and get rebounds a couple things with them, I decided to leave it the regular one because I could imagine some problems if it did have a reinforced one.
It'd be too strong, yeah.
Always gotta double check and rebalance things if you think they're too powerful or too weak. You always gotta keep that in mind.
Yep.
Okay. We've got a turret range of 600 meters. Autonomous
That's also
turret.
the confiscate for the weapons I gave it.
Yeah, that makes sense. 15 seconds for the turret run time, I guess you cool call it. Cooldown 17 seconds, block damage, return damage. I like the additional damage to Titans.
That's like the one thing you gotta have on a Titan killer.
Yeah, I really feel like Titans are too strong, so damage dealt to robots 50%. And then you've got new weapons, huh?
Yep. If
The
you're wrong
drizzle.
with it, I could go ahead and toss the weapons and what they do.
What's a drizzle?
It's basically I gave the theme to some weapons, like some later on for the zealots are named after like a certain weapon or something. The weapons I gave for the bastion are named like after something to do with electricity. Like
Yeah.
Thunderbolt, Typhoon, not the Typhon. The Typhoon's like a type of ocean cyclone, I'm pretty sure. And then the Drizzle, which is like a
Okay. All right.
Also,
All right. Well,
just toss something about that. Some of the negative effects I made need to be taken with a grain of salt because
I felt a little random when I wrote that. I don't know why I even bothered saying that, since Gman loved the effect when I showed it to him and thought that it's how EMP should work instead of how it is currently, but I just felt so weird when I wrote that.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with one of them in particular, so it's in its current state for the time being until I can figure out what I want it to perfectly do without being over.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, here's the drizzle. There you go.
Hey, Encryption, welcome. We're just looking at someone. So if you just joined, we kind of already went over the update, and now we're looking at some fan concepts, robot concepts, weapon concepts for the game. So these have nothing. These aren't real. These are just ideas.
Literally asked Fixonic if they could take these in, and a month later, still no response from them.
Still no response to this day, y'all. And this has been my dream to get all this into the game, and the dream has yet to come true.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they don't respond to us, and we're in their Discord, chat. So
I mean, it's like what they say. They keep, no matter how long I'll try, I ain't giving up.
yeah, I mean, there's no harm done, right? As long as you're enjoying yourself. That's the important part. All right, so Drizzle, an electric weapon system that electrocutes enemies. So is this different than like the Shifang and Fang Bao that we have now? Oh, 500 meters.
Actually, these weapons were actually made a couple months before the original Tesla guns came out. So think of like an updated version of the Scourge Sparking.
So these are more like Scourge Spark, yeah.
Yep, no lock on.
That's cool. All right, that's cool.
Honestly, to be fair, the lock-on mechanic for like the Scourge Spark Calamity, like I said, Spiral Hydra Chimera, the lock-on mechanic just straight up needs to get removed. I'm going to cover that and a couple other things about the game in a future video. So keep in tune for that.
Cool, very cool.
Also, before I reveal the next robot, what in your head, what would be the definition of a unique robot?
I don't know nowadays.
Because one of my robots I know will take Pixar a long time to try and make work, but it is my magnum opus of creativity, the Masquerade. Here it is.
Okay, before he talks about it, I just want to mention that of all the concepts I've worked on over the years, aside from the Wyvern, which is definitely my #1 favorite, the Masquerade was probably the one I had the most amount of fun working on, because I knew I had to try and make a robot do this.
Oops, I went too far. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Masquerade. Is that the...
Yep, that's the robot. Trust me when I say this, you'll probably never see a robot this unique ever again.
Can cloak itself with unique particles to give off the illusion. Oh, that's actually super interesting. So it's like a chameleon.
A robot that can
well, not a chameleon.
Others.
Like a shapeshifter.
Yep. It's like I honestly knew I had to make this an existence.
Blood weapons. That's actually kind of cool. That would really be a hard thing to counter in the game.
It would be, especially with all the new robots that come out after it. Like, you're going to have to apply the same model to the Masquerade while it exists. Like, you essentially have to make the same robot model for the main game, but also make the illusion for the masquerade if it decides to copy it.
Yeah, but also, an even harder part is that, spoilers, the pilot allows the weapons to copy the negative effects of the said robot that clones it. Like, if your robot doesn't have weapons that apply lockdown, you copy a robot that has, like, said, pulsar or magnetar, your weapons will be able to apply lockdown.
Wow, that's amazing. That's crazy.
Yeah, the other one is just simply restores its durability when the illusion is removed.
Ah, interesting. All right, that's pretty cool. It's a little crazy though. Encryption says, "Hey Gatton, welcome." Encryption says, "Do you think Bedware's?" Yeah, Bedware's worth getting. Bedware's probably the second, maybe second or third best Titan. So yeah, I think it's a.
Well, if we time travel to right now, the best Titan is a tie between the Basigliere and the Mauler. The Eiffel is going to die out most likely when it's nerfed, and the Bedwear I sort of wish was. I do feel like the Bedwear is actually okay. Like, I certainly find it funny that everyone was complaining about it being like the stupidest idea for a Titan, and a couple months after it comes out, and no one really complains about it, aside from the fact that it's the first Titan that has like an energy shield. Like, dude, we knew this was gonna happen someday.
Definitely worth getting. I think Luchador, Eiffel, Bedware, Rook is kind of sorta. Like I'm kind of on the fence about Rook.
I honestly will say that I really underestimated the Rook even after its nerfs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. But
no, that's prior to the Rook getting nerfed again with the next update.
I still don't think it's still not. It's not the best Titan.
How does that look, guys? Can you see it? So this is a concept that Toxin has been working on. So he's got. It's called the Wyvern, and it's from. He's saying it's Icarus Corporation.
While he goes on about, I'm gonna just say that this is still probably my #1 favorite concept I've ever made. I like Titan killers as much as everyone else. Gman especially. I mean, he says himself that he really does not like Titans. So I already know that he's gonna get a gig whenever I really feel a Titan killer.
Ability Dragon Claws. Takes off while activating reinforced reflector. Multiple built-in rocket launchers. That sounds kind of cool. Track and apply freeze. That sounds kind of cool. When landing multiple hits on a fully frozen robot, it'll start to make the target more brittle. That's interesting. I assume DOT. Freeze. Slow affected enemies. Increase their damage taken. Okay. Damage over time. Alright. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Damage dealt to Titans. Alright. So this is a Titan killer. Kind of like a Hawk or a Seraph or the Ophion. Built-in weapon damage 500. Reinforced reflector. So
the reinforced reflector is essentially like how Pixonic introduced the improved Aegis shield for like robots on, like, say, the Typhon and the Mars robot, for example. That was essentially this. But you can kind of see right here, it says here, the reinforced version is immune to defense ignore type weapon damage. Example, Reaper or Gauss. Essentially, I really dislike those weapons quite a lot. I loved them when I first used them, but nowadays they're just kind of annoying. So I was like, I might as well make my favorite Titan killer as of now essentially just Gauss and Reaper proof.
For the duration.
And also because they're still being they're still all over the place. Like, there's at least gonna be one robots game, no matter what it is. There's gonna be at least someone running a robot with either the Reaper or railguns, consisting of Volt, Weber, and Gauss.
Of the ability the robot has protection. Mitigated. Okay. All right. I guess you're getting shot down by Reapers and Gauss a lot, so you came up with this idea.
Like what Gman said right there, this is why.
Wow, it's slow though. 38 miles an hour. So what's that in kilometers? That's
that there was a little oopsie from me. It was supposed to be KHM or H, whatever, I don't care. This was a bit of a little error when I was first working on it, and I was a little stupid. So you can ignore that little mistake from me.
Like 50 something. Got 3 weapon slots though. That's kind of a lot. Can I make it bigger? I don't think I can make it bigger. Yeah, it doesn't get any bigger. All right. So the name of the robot is Paragon. It's kind of like a Seraph. Base design is based on the Seraph. It's got jump engines. Paragon can leap at mid-range distances and crash. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure what I think about the. So it's not fragile like the Seraph is. Then it's like tanky or something. Got it.
I seriously don't quite know if the Paragon was the accidental inspiration to the Raptor, but if this was made before it, so you know, and if Pixar actually had a look at the Paragon and then made the Raptor afterward, that would be kind of insane. Although I'd wish they just used this instead of just taking the Luchador and made it an orphan baby version.
Rocket jump. The robot makes a jet jump towards a chosen direction. When the robot drops to the ground or lands and jump, it emits a blast wave around it. So it's going to be like the Raptor in a way, but based on the Seraph. Is that do I got that right? Because the Raptor is actually space tech too. Rust decreases robot durability. So its ability includes rust. It emits a blast wave around it, which throws enemies back and deals damage and applies rust. That's interesting.
You can sort of think of it as the Raptor jump when it slams to the ground, but instead of rust, instead of EMP, if it has Gloria as the pilot, it applies rust, but without the reflector or the magnet.
Interesting. The robot has improved plating, which reduces the damage taken from kinetic weapons. That's interesting. So is that kind of like the Curie? You're like kind of doing like a whole mishmash of.
Well, yes, but no. Technically, how the extra plating passive works on the Paragon is, I wanted to take like a tiny note from the Achikachi book with its corrosion protection, reducing damage it takes from dot for basically permanently. The extra plating is essentially that, but instead of reducing damage from corrosion or dot, it reduces damage from kinetic weapons. And spoilers, the weapons that came along with this thing are rocket launchers that also apply rust. So you'll see that later.
You got 3 weapons. That's a lot of weapons for something that sounds like this powerful, but yeah, interesting.
originally had a so I was thinking Mercury. I was kind of thinking, can we
Yeah, that's how the Paragon's origins was, to essentially make a much stronger Mercury.
look at this? Is Deathtrooper. Let me see how I want to do this. Let's look at Deathtrooper's Ultimate Leo.
Yeah, this is also when Gman had a look at my good friend Deathtrooper's idea on an Ultimate Leo. And I'd say, after looking at it when G-Man first looked at it, I certainly will say this is almost a perfect way to do it. And you may see that it has 5 weapons, which I do think is the one issue I have with it. Not to be offensive, but that's essentially my only problem with the Ultimate Leo, is it having more than 4 weapons. But unlike the Dagon, which is 6 light, it's got 4 light and a heavy. And I do think the original Leo looks like it should have had 5 weapons from the start, which fair, but I certainly would see some problems. But I still think this is really good. Shout out to Deathtrooper for this.
Concept. So, all right. So he's got, the whole thing that they say and like everything, about the rarest modification, blah, blah, blah. But the old Icarus tank is ready to dominate the battlefield again with its shiny looks. I like that. That's cool. Brawling and sniping. So he's got some health numbers, the hard points. I'm surprised you didn't upgrade the hard points. Maybe 2 heavies.
I do agree with G-Man that upgrading the hard points would be cool. I do think a very interesting idea is, instead of 4 light and a heavy, personally, in my opinion, have it like 2 light, 1 medium, and a heavy. Like essentially like the Skyros, but add on an extra light weapon. That could be really cool. And that would also make this Ultimate Leo the first robot to have that type of firepower. And yeah, I'm still honestly, it's really good.
And 2 lights. I don't know. Maybe that's too much. Make it too strong. Ability, Unleash the Beast. Ultimate Leo, activate its force field upon being shot at, gains durability. Okay, all right. Ultimate Redeemer, interesting. Ultimate Magnum, yes. Those are some really good ideas, I think. Let's get a bigger picture. Oh, he's got a new picture. Just came now.
Personally, I find the original design to be my favorite, but this one's really good as well.
And we're gonna look at this is Toxin's new concept. So
this right here was the one that I first come up with. The original, the first one, the OG.
Oh yeah, and so Julian, what I was saying is you either need to get your people to upgrade it, or you need to maybe leave and join another clan. This is the one thing nice about Discord. I know you don't really like Discord, and maybe I understand why now with your social anxiety, but in order to communicate, the in-game chat's not very good. So maybe you should put a message there and say, hey guys, upgrade the thing, upgrade our starbase, or maybe you need to leave and find another clan. Maybe don't donate your thorium to them. I don't know. Anyways, that's just a thought. Yeah, Toxin, I'm not gonna do the voice chat. I'm sorry, because I've got to change all my settings.
It's fine if you don't need to for most of them. The only reason I've done so was to in case if he mistakes on something about them, I could be there to assist him if he needs another bit of understanding on something. Which there is a few, which I will get to.
it's difficult for me to change it midstream like this. So I'm just gonna walk through. And so he's new robot, the Arbiter from Icarus Technologies, top development, Brawler. It's a new Brawler. Ability, Stalker. The robot marks up to 3 robots at a certain range. While opposing robots are marked, the robot can activate its ability again to immediately charge towards its current target while knocking it back. Emits a shockwave, applying both lockdown and rust effect. Wow. Yeah, so it kind of sounds like a little bit like an Ocho combined with a Pathfinder, kind of. I don't know. The robot can charge, or maybe really, I don't know. The Raptor is awesome.
In reality, I dislike it with a burning passion, and I wish the Raptor could go burn in the depths of obscurity where it freaking belongs.
Hey, Clash, welcome. Hey, are you crazy? Nice name. Welcome.
10 out of 10 for that one.
What's poppin'? We're doing some concept reviews. Oh, we're almost out of time. I'm almost out of time, guys. We got to speed this up. Okay, so the robot can charge other robots. Arbiter exoskeleton. Now, that sounds interesting. Arbiter has advanced protection. So it's kind of like the Curie. Under like full build. Yeah, okay. Taking damage. Wow, this man, don't Toxin. I hope they don't make this. This would be crazy.
So a little bit of an explanation on the exoskeleton, how I did it. It is as it says, a full body physical shield on the entire robot, but parts of it don't break when taking damage. And like all physical shields, the exoskeleton robot can still take damage from like flamethrowers or rocket launchers. And plus, it may sound nuts that this exoskeleton gives the Arbiter 115,000 more durability, but the exoskeleton can't come back on the robot. Like, once it breaks, it's not coming back. Unless the Arbiter is destroyed and you deploy another one. And also, to somewhat balance it out, said robot that has an exoskeleton has 15% reduced movement speed. That was in its original form, but when I went ahead and rebalanced a couple of my concepts today, I nerfed it to 10% reduced movement speed instead of 15. I do think having the extra durability and having lower speed, I think makes sense on this thing. And also, one thing I didn't mention to Gman about the Arbiter, that this was the one concept I have made that I changed a lot. And I'm not meaning like stat-wise, I'm meaning how it works. Like, originally, it was essentially like the Ocho, but instead it fires like a harpoon to its target and then it pulls itself towards said target, and knocks it back while dealing crazy damage. That was its original form, and stage 2 was the opposite. It pulls the target towards the Arbiter and doesn't do knockback damage. And then the final form, the same thing, but instead of an exoskeleton, on the previous forms, it was instead a force field. But I feel like robots with force fields, they're gonna be dead. Like, if Pixar does add the Arbiter to the game and nerf it, we know that if it had a force field, it's gonna end up the same to what they did to the Seraph and Nether. it's going to virtually be non-existent at the point. So I decided the exoskeleton was perfect.
This would be crazy. This is way too strong. The vulture.
Certainly hope you understand from what I said.
Flying technology. Disengage. The robot jumps backwards and emits. Yeah, I don't like the jump backwards thing. I'm trying to do the new Titan on the test server, and it's.
I do think that we should have had a robot that jumps backwards from the start. I know we have the Bersigliere Titan, but the thing's a Titan. Can we, Pixonic, can we please get a regular robot that can jump backwards? Like, maybe a Raven lookalike that could instead jump forwards, instead jumps backwards. That would generally be really cool. And also, if they do have that, please let the legs be backwards like the Crisis, because I feel like we need more robots like that.
Like, it just doesn't click in my brain to, maybe if it's just jump backwards, it's cool, but not which way the legs are facing. That's just too confusing. The robot jumps backwards, emits electromagnetic shockwave, static effect, any robot caught in the pulse, shutting down the weapon. Ooh, shutting down the weapon system. So I think that's cool. I think that's what the EMP should do, not just your mom.
Yeah, this is what I said a bit earlier, how Gman thinks this is how EMP should have worked. And I've certainly had a lot of time thinking about how I should implement static. Like, would that just be the name of the effect with like the Pathfinder Shieldbreaker that applies to robots with its tracking ability? Or it just, however, but this is essentially its final stat, or just final stage, and I think static's perfect for it.
Modules, but I think that would be crazy, though. That would be really, really crazy. You got a lot of comps. How many more we got? Last one? Okay, good. Lurker. Death lurks on the battle.
Honestly, spoilers, the Lurker is honestly a robot I think we deserve to have. And also, this is G-Man's favorite of my concepts, if I remember correctly.
Field. First true spider robot. All 8 legs. Wow.
I mean, like, we had the Dagon with 6 legs. We had the Fujin, Rajin, Wayland, all that with 4 legs. And heck, the Indra with 3 tripod legs. The Lynx with wheels instead of legs. How about an 8-legged spider robot? Pixonic, take my money. I'll buy that crap.
That would be cool. I wish they would do a if you didn't mind, do custom art for streamers. Would you like to see some? So yeah, I guess I wouldn't mind. If you want to post a link, you could post a link. But if I need to buy it, I'm not sure how I will approach that, because I haven't paid for anything yet and I know, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I'm not sure I want to. I don't feel I'm at the place in my streaming career yet where I can pay for art. Does that make sense? So, but yeah, if you have a link or something, I'd be interested to look. Yes. The robot deploys spider trap. That sounds cool. Magnetic web. Ooh, I like this one. This is like my favorite one, Toxin.
Yeah. Essentially, the good inspiration for the Lurker is simple. The inspiration for both the 8 legs is to actual spiders, and honestly, that's how the Arachnid Invader should have been. Like, instead of it just being the regular Invader, but as a spider, it should have just been the Invader. They should have added 4 additional legs on the Arachnid Invader. That could have been very cool. And plus, the Arachnid Invader is literally a spider, so it would make perfect sense. But yeah, and also deploying the magnetic web ability is specifically because there is one spider species I don't remember. I'll have it. It should be on screen here right now. But it's essentially a spider species that instead of using webbing as like a trap, they use it to. They use their like. They weave the web into like a net and capture the prey with it. And I thought, how about I turn that into a robot? And here we are.
I don't know if it would be my favorite to play, but I definitely think this is the coolest idea. All right, let's switch back. Let's see, what does the chat say? The chat says, it's so op, Gman hates it. You're welcome, Midnight Rambler. I wish we could look at actually other people's stuff, but don't forget, Deathtrooper, it's awesome.
I certainly would like to do that too. Like in the future, if I kind of want to see some people make some robot concepts of their own, like see how what they would think would be cool for the game as a future addition for content. But I certainly wish all mine, in my opinion, I think are top tier for being added to the game. But Pixonic getting kind of lazy with the robot ideas. Like the Condor is essentially the three-way love child between the body of a Shenlu, the body of an Emoji, only when it's in flight, and having both the Titan Killer status and laser of the Hawk. I think that's just silly. And also the Raptor, as I mentioned quite early.
Awesome, but Pixonic will probably nerf it. Yeah, I almost guarantee the Raptor will be nerfed. So just the internets. Let's blow this up a little bit more. And maybe, can I do this? Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
You can kind of notice here that this is the icon of the channel. I finally got around to putting it as my icon profile pic for my Discord, and I love it to death.
Oh, he always has to check it. A lot of people always ask. That's silly. There's 5. All right. So let's go through them quickly, okay? Exoskeleton. So these are
ignore the top message, by the way. I already explained all that, so yeah.
Some new concepts from Toxin. I thought you were taking a break, Toxin, from doing these things.
During the time I was taking a break from designing new ones, specifically the newer ones, I was specifically showing the older ones before I was taking a break. Hope you understand that.
All right, before we get into other exoskeleton, a few things to clarify. Okay. 5 robots. Oh, I see. Okay. So Corporation Space Tech. It's called the Enforcer, right? Okay. Activates 4 absorber shields. Why 4?
So there is a bit of this will need a bit of an explanation for why there's 4 of them and not just 1. Why I didn't decide on just a dome. Well, that's actually because there's a robot I designed way before this one. It had like, think of it as like the bedwear shields, but completely around the robot as 4 different panels. And that's essentially the Enforcer. They can't go above the Enforcer, so it's not a dome, it's like the bedwear shield. So that essentially makes the Enforcer very vulnerable to weapons that attack from above, like Clawjaw Talon and the should not exist Hurricane and Dune. If there's any weapons I would love to get out of the game or simply just remove from forever, it's the Hurricane and Dune. Probably the most infuriating set of weapons Pixonic's ever made. Hands down. And I will die on this hill.
And places 2 beacons that hover near it. While the beacons are active, the robot has 20% faster both allies and enemies.
Each beacon applies allies have increased damage. Okay, so they got outgoing damage, defense points, movement speeds, while enemies suffer. So it's like it's kind of like the healing weapons where you take something away from, like, so you take their speed away and you get the speed. You take their damage, or so that's kind of cool. I like that idea.
I guess that's how you could say it. But that wasn't originally how the Enforcer was intentionally designed.
I don't think it can be 1 for 1, though. I think it needs to be like a percentage. So that's cool. All right, next one. Renegade. Renegade. It's a DSC robot. All right, speed is a new creation. Yeah, DSC robots tend to be slow, right?
Yeah, agreed. Essentially, I thought DSC needed a fast robot, so that's where the Renegade comes in. And spoilers, the Renegade was essentially a copy-paste of the Alchakachi without the annoyingness of being one. Like, it doesn't have the dot protection like the original, and instead of getting the burst of speed immediately upon ability activation, it instead like slowly gets it over time. Like, it'll start going like slightly faster and faster and faster as the duration goes on. And then once the ability is over, then it's the reverse. It goes rapidly fast and then slowly loses the speed, essentially decreasing. I thought that would be a cool idea.
Static rush. The robot accelerates, rapidly increasing its base speed as the ability goes on. While accelerating, the robot also emits electromagnetic shock waves, both the static and EMP. Okay, all right. Damage.
I could think the static and EMP effects stacking on this could be annoying, but the thing doesn't have dot protection, so if you're essentially far away, then the Renegade shouldn't be that difficult to take down.
Taken from enemy weapons slightly improves the damage. Okay. So it's like a little bit of a reflector shield too. Electric protection, passive. Robot has improved armor that reduces the damage taken from energy or plasma weapons by a
The electric protection is essentially the same as the extra plating of passive from the Paragon. Instead of reducing damage from kinetic weapons, it's from energy and plasma weapons. Say like Marquise, Dragoon for energy, and plasma for spear, Magnum, Redeemer, etc.
light amount. That's interesting. So it's like a reflector. Well, not a reflector. Just a shield against certain types of weapons.
That could be it.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. It's got 2 mediums. Okay, so it doesn't have a lot of firepower with 2 mediums. All right.
It's kind of like I said before. Like, if a robot like this has too much firepower, that could possibly make it broken. So I thought 2 medium weapons was fair play for the Renegade.
Next is the Zealot. Zealot, how you pronounce that word. Next gen technology, blah, blah, blah. Champion's Blink.
Spoilers, the Zealot is essentially the Revenant, but way better. Yes, I did complain that Pixar got lazy with some of the robots and titans they made, just taking the same thing and making the opposite version. But, like, I still love the Revenant, and I thought this would be a cool addition.
The robot teleports to a point in front of the enemy and drops all negative effects
and activates its modernized defense mechanisms as well as a reflector. That's too strong, I think.
Yeah, it's essentially the Revenant, but with a reflector on top of it.
The robot receives immunity.
But unlike the Revenant, the Zealot doesn't have the physical shields on the sides, so that's kind of a trade-off.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Revenant a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Reflector. All right, we know what the reflector is. Positive effect. Block damage 90%. Return damage 55. Okay. 2 light, 1 heavy. Okay. All right. Next up is Echo. This is from Evo Life. Hallucination. So I don't know if this is what I think it is, but this is something that I've been thinking about. That I'm surprised they didn't do this already. Yeah. Makes a holographic image of itself. Yes, this is what I'm thinking. Styles projection remains stationary for a certain time while the hologram is deployed. The robot gains increased defense. Okay. Homages. Enemies can damage the projection, but only with energy weapons.
The energy weapons is very specific. A little bit. It used to be just all energy weapon. It used to be just to energy weapons like the Dragoon, Marquise, all that. But I felt like that made it a little too ridiculous, so I essentially just said, just screw it, make it just take damage from every single energy weapon.
But basically, it's a decoy, right? It's to pull the attention away from yourself or away from your team.
Essentially, think of it as using the hologram from Halo Reach. That's essentially the ability for the Echo, not hologram. What am I saying?
Teammates and have them think that that's you. So I think that's super cool. I was going to call it Mirage instead of.
Okay. That's a way better name actually. But I still think Hallucination is cool, especially since the update event that I have the Echo release is a Halloween themed event. So I thought Hallucination made slightly more sense.
Of hallucination, but hallucination sounds more kind of druggy. So I think that's pretty cool. Ironclad. All right. Now, what class is this guy? This guy is like a.
If you missed it, the Echo is classified as a saboteur when I wrote it down, due to essentially this thing being almost a reverse phantom when I said it in the description.
Mirror start. Oh, you got a mirror. I missed the mirror. After deployment, the robot creates a holographic projection of itself. Interesting. And then it follows it until it's destroyed, basically. Huh. That's cool.
Also, a small little quirk I did for the Mirrored Star, because it's essentially a built-in reviver. I added it's essentially not shown there, but I tweaked it to where that the Mirrored Star activates only once per Echo. Like, essentially, only a single Echo in your hangar can have Mirrored Star activate. So this is essentially to prevent high-level players that essentially just players that are that good at the game and say like run 2 to 4 Raptors, heck, run an entire hangar of them, from abusing the cheat death of mechanic. I think that's a bit fair.
So it's kind of like the Pathfinder's suppression bubble, right? All right. Next is Ironclad. Corporation DSC. Ability Pulse Barricade. The robot activates 2 absorber shields in front of itself.
The Ironclad is just they essentially pulled a Raptor thingy and took the bedware and made it into an old robot. But the only reason I did this specifically just doing the same thing with what they did to the Raptor, take the Luchador, and make a small version of it. That's because the Ironclad was necessary for one of the events, because it's not necessarily an update, it's more of like a story, essentially like the Battle for Ground Zero, like a story.
The shield is also wide enough, so kind of like the Bedware shield, I think. That's what it sounds like. While the ability is active, the robot's durability is... Yeah, and so that's the same too, right?
Some differences from the Bedware is that its durability automatically restores constantly, no matter what it's doing. The Ironclad will only heal itself when the ability is active. Because essentially having it have a built-in repair amp or mechanic skill going off at all times is a bit too powerful. And healing and the repair amps are very important on robots these days. So I thought, you having it only during the ability, perfectly balanced, I think.
Durability being restored. Absorb. Okay, the absorber. We know what an absorber is. Enfeeble. Okay, so this is kind of like the suppression bubble around the path.
It says you can also see right here that you may think adding the Pathfinder force field bubble thingy it makes the Ironclad stupidly powerful, but instead of it being 800 to 800 meter range for it to activate, it's only at 150 meters or closer. And honestly, that makes perfect sense since the Ironclad's a tank.
Pathfinder, right? So, okay. 2 light and 1 heavy. Okay.
Oh, and also, if the Ironclad's at Mark 3, the bubble activates at 250 meters range instead of 150.
All right. What else do we got here? All right, so we've got... Don't need that message. Lucanus. So this is a concept by...
To go ahead and get out of the way, the name Lucanus, to those who don't know, is actually the scientific term for stag beetle. And I may have accidentally made it to something that was not a stag beetle. Like, I intentionally wanted to give the Lucanus a charge, like, or dash, like the Bulgasari and such, but I felt like having it able to drop in each shield at will, I thought was way better.
Toxin/red feather. He likes to come up with...
Oh, and this is also when I first got the name of Red Feather. Not immediately on this video, but the day before this stream. And I will say I am still proud of it. It's essentially going to be my name forever unless I change it again. And to my friends, I'm not. I got Red Feather, and that's what I'm sticking with for the rest of my existence until I'm dead.
Ideas for new robots, and we just like to talk about him here and share what he's doing. It's not really all that meaningful in the sense that, like, you know, maybe Pixonic will pick this up.
Yes, please.
But, you know, we're not doing it for that. I think he's doing it for that. He hopes one day one of his concepts will get put into the game.
I do wish for my concepts to enter, but I want all of them to get in the game. Not just one. I want everything. I must have them all. Collect them.
But we're doing it just to check out what he's thinking. He's got some interesting ideas, so let's
like I said, I was born with a big brain.
Check this out.
Like, if someone wants me to help make a concept that doesn't already exist, or, excuse me, a robot idea that doesn't exist already, excluding the ones I already have, then you just ask me, and I will be more than happy to make it for you.
Ability is Shed Carapace. So like an insect or something? Discarded shell activates a phase shift, allowing allied robots...
I am more than assuming you meant to say phase shield, not phase shift. Since if the shield had a phase shift, how would that make any sense? I don't even think phase shift and a shield can work together interchangeably if I decide to make that a concept, which I won't, because I am slowing down at the time. but I don't think those would work together.
Pass through. That's kind of weird. So kind of like an Imugi, but different. Shield has its own durability. Returns to the robot. Shield has a restore robot's durability. Okay, all right. Even if the shield was destroyed, the robot will still. Huh. Okay. So it sounds like it's supposed to be a tank, right?
Yes, the Lucanus is indeed a tank. Because, like, if it's got all this, then it definitely sounds like it should be a tank. I do understand some people could read this, and think it has some support vibes, like, say, the Demeter or Demeter. It's kind of debated. Like, it's either Demeter or Demeter. But I always call it Demeter. But yeah, the shield definitely makes it sound like it's supposed to be a supporter, like the Demeter. But nope, I classified this as a tank because of the exoskeleton, if you noticed.
You have it. Did you define what kind of robot? Usually you say like it's a tank. Exoskeleton. Lucanus has advanced protection that blocks received. So exoskeletons like with the Curie.
And also, one thing I forgot to mention about the exoskeleton is that, I know someone's gonna ask me, like, the exoskeleton durability, if the robot that has it is upgraded, does it also increase the exoskeleton durability? There, I say no. I don't. The Lucanus exoskeleton durability max is to 125,000 durability, and it's gonna stay that value permanently, unless there is going to be a pilot skill for robots that have an exoskeleton, which so far I've only made 3. Spoilers. Is that you can trade off the robot's speed to increase the exoskeleton durability, but it's not going to be by much.
Has, right? Kind of. Teleports in armor. The exo. Alright, that's kind of cool. That's an interesting idea. Alright, so the next one is Cypher. Ultimate Leo design is better than the new Titan robot concept.
I am more than sure it was Deathtrooper that said that. But if it was really him that said that, I agree.
No doubt, no doubt. How do I get... Admiral Raider says, how do I get ranked in the game? Oh, you just gotta play a lot, Admiral Raider. So you're probably like still like in, I don't know, if you just started, then you're probably like in Bronze League or something. And you just gotta keep playing. And then you'll go up and you'll get ranked higher. Alright, so the ability is Pressure Flight. Charges depending on the robot's state. On the ground, the robot has all its weapons active.
One thing I forgot to add there is that it's supposed to read while it's on the ground, the robot has extra durability and all of its weapons active. Another tiny little mistake by me, but I'll add that once I review them all in the future.
When the ability activates, the robot takes off. So kind of like the Fafnir activates 2 absorber shields.
The 2 absorber shields right there is the same reason I explained during the Enforcer. It's like the Bedwear shield, 2 Bedwear shields on the sides of the Cypher. And the Cypher is actually probably my most interesting idea. Well, that title goes to someone else. Masquerade. But the Cypher is essentially the Eiffel, but reversed. On the ground, how the Eiffel gets extra weapons in the air, the Cypher gets its extra weapons on the ground, and the extra durability, both of them on the ground, but when it takes flight, it loses the extra durability, the two meat weapons, and activates 2 absorber shields to replace them, and allowing you to use a manual built-in laser gun. This robot is essentially either a tank on the ground or a sniper while it's in the air.
And a built-in laser gun that rust over time.
And no, that's not it does sound like it's rust over time, which also could work, but it's actually just rot. R-O-T, rot. And the rot effect here reduces the affected robot's maximum durability and defensive values for a short time. It's essentially like you get hit by it, your durability will go down depending on the amount of stacks you have, but once the effect goes away, you get that durability back. And the same as the defensive values. I think this might be the least strong effect here, but this does make it possible that if you actually manage to stack a lot of rot effects on one robot, it's possible to get them to reduce their durability down so much that the robot will just have 1 HP, like the Marksman game mode, which is not good in my opinion. But to balance that, to make sure that doesn't happen, the stack limit is 30. So that's pretty much to balance the effect out.
That's interesting. Okay. Impenetrable, blah, blah, blah. Class tank sniper. Oh, so you're thinking of this as a sniper.
Or tank, depending on your playstyle.
Alright, the next one is synthesizer. Corporation Space Tech. Keep calm and bring out the noise. Oh, synthesizer like the musical instrument, not making something. All right, so sonic tune. The robot binds itself to a targeted ally and provides them with various bonuses. So kind of like the Kepri, right? Like the Kepri.
Simply put, a Kepri that has legs and is stronger with a reflector.
Thing.
But it only gives the reflector to the bonded ally, not to itself. I think it would be a little crazy if both the synthesizer and a bonded robot can have a reflector at the same time. So I was like, hey, the reflector only on the ally should be fair, which I think it does.
Static and ROP effect and a reflector system. The robot itself gains the same bonuses except the reflector.
That's to essentially make sure that it doesn't get too strong.
The link can be broken if the robot and ally move away. Okay, yeah, so if you've got too much... what's the range? 500 meters. Okay. So if you go beyond that 500 meters, then you lose it.
Actually, no. It says it right here that the max distance for the bond is 600 meters. You get further than that, the link will break. It's at 500 meters where you can actually bond with an ally. I could think just flat out say it would be in between 100 meter, just between 0 to 500 meter range to maybe give it a little gimmick compared to the Kepri.
Phase shield. Type of Aegis shield that allows allied robots to pass through by opposing. So does the shield actually prevent them, like a wall?
Yes, actually. And I thought this would be a perfect new shield type to add in the game. And honestly, this could make, like, robots that have, like, a huge, a dome Aegis, like the Erebus, could slate a little better since, like, robots like the Scorpion or Shenlu can't, or just any robot won't be able to get real close to it to just... You essentially are required to have the shield down if you're fighting one that has it in order to get through. sort of. And this also like prevents robots that can like charge at you at fast speeds, like the Achikachi, and forcefully getting through your shield. You essentially won't be able to, since the shield blocks enemies from walking into it, unless the shield's broken.
Sonic will never be able to implement that. They can't even implement regular walls.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I'm still gonna send them. I'm still gonna want them to add these.
It's like,
Oh yeah, and speaking of Achikachi, the synthesizer's firepower is the same as the Acho, 2 medium to light. But unlike the Acho, the medium weapons are actually on top of the robot, not on the sides. The sides are where the light weapons are. And I think that we needed a bit more robots with this firepower, but yeah, I think it works.
Okay, so hold on, Admiral Raider. Hold on a second. Let me finish this concept real quick, and we'll talk about your question. Where are we? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Mammoth.
We're here to our first of the Titans.
Oh, it's a Titan. 4 alphas. I don't know, guys. That sounds bad.
To Gman and others, even though this sounds a little ridiculous and broken, but I gave the Mammoth enough trade-offs to actually make it balanced. Primarily with its the main ability and the secondary ability.
Sounds bad news. Titanic mode. The Titan elevates its tower, activates all 4. So it can't use all 4 weapons all the time. That's part of its ability.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's like the ultimate Ao Ming. 4 alphas can only use all 4 if it's in the air.
I guess. So it's like a giant behemoth. Yeah, okay, all right. Got lockdown.
Yeah. About the lockdown thing is that while the ability is active, it doesn't like it's not like the pre-buffed behemoth where the robot cannot move at all unless it moves out of it. The Mammoth can. It still gives you the option to move, but you have a permanent anti-control. Not anti-control. You have a permanent lockdown effect instead, preventing the Mammoth from moving due to design features. And it does. And I decided to add a little bit of a troll effect here: is that the Titan anti-control can activate still, but it can't get rid of the lockdown. In fact, it can't remove lockdown at all on the Mammoth. Meaning, if you get lockdown, say like a Dagon with Magnetars, it locks you down, and you have Titan anti-control. The anti-control will activate but it's not going to remove the lockdown. So, yeah.
Secondary ability is Enrage. That's what I get when we play games like we played today.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, especially during when I first watched the stream. That's essentially how he felt. But that's still so funny. No offense, G-Man, I'm sorry, but I can't take that seriously.
Titan significantly increases its outgoing damage for a short time, but drastically increases the damage. Oh, interesting. So it's kind of like a trade-off. In order to deal a lot of damage, you potentially can take a lot of damage.
Yeah, essentially, Enrage increases Mammoth's damage output, but also increases the damage it takes. So yeah, it already sounds broken enough with the 4 alphas, but dealing 20% more damage, but you take 15% more damage during the for a 4-second duration. And plus, he may not notice, but when the duration ends, the mammoth gets the suppression effect, reducing its own damage, as if it's like powered itself up so much that it now tired itself out, and now it needs to cool down. A 10-second suppression. And I think this should be enough to balance the mammoth for having 4 alpha weapons.
That's an interesting idea. Titan suffers reducing its own damage. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Huh. That's kind of cool. All right. Very good. Interesting stuff. Now let me look at. All right. So what do we got? We got Sentinel.
Another round with the Titans, baby.
High-tech Titan with monstrous. Oh, so this is the Titans. Firepower. Sentinel combines technology from Space Tech and Icarus, making a Titan for extreme distance. Sentinel's guns, it can change the result of the battle. Okay. Overpower. That's too funny. I
am a bit curious. How do you find that funny, though? I get that I designed the Sentinel to be a Titan crisis to a tiny degree. Oh my goodness. Another mistake by me. The quantum sensor wasn't supposed to be there. It did not need to. That's supposed to go on the pilot, but turns out I forgot to remove it. My bad.
A great overpower. Titan fires a laser charge at a target, drastically increasing its damage, applying lockdown. Okay. Quantum sensor allows locking on to the stealth enemy in a specific radius. Quantum sensor that allows locking.
Once again, I forgot to remove that because I put that on the legendary pilot when I was changing it.
Huh. That's kind of weird. So you're gonna do quantum sensor that allows you to see stuff in stealth, but then it locks them down. So that's a new way of looking at it. Secondary ability. So that was the primary ability, right? All right. And then tactical empowerment. After a short delay, the Titan generates an absorber shield around it, but loses the ability to move. Ah, okay. So it's kind of like the Luchador's shield, reflector shield, but it's an absorber instead of a reflector.
Now the difference here between the Sentinel absorber to the Ironclad is it's not a shield, it's a dome. It's a dome. I don't know the full range since we've never seen like a dome shield on a Titan.
The damage from the absorber empowers the Titan's guns. Okay, all right.
Also, a tiny bonus here is that the additional damage does not apply to its outgoing damage. It only applies then the next time you shoot your weapon. Especially if it's like a short burst weapon like the Tonans and Fulgur and the Carbine and Abaddon guns that go with it.
Oh. So it doesn't have a ton of health, huh? Alright, so let's move on to the next one. Corporation Yandy Volcano. Okay. An absolute marvel of Yandy technology involved with new Titan that incinerates its opponents to ashes. Volcano is an experimental evolution of the Minos. Okay, I like the Minos. The Minos was fun. Special technology is used to allow Volcano to move at extreme speeds, but at the cost of damaging itself. That's interesting. Alright.
The damaging itself, we will get to that once we reach its secondary ability.
primary ability, Blazing Rush. The Titan significantly accelerates, increasing its own movement speed, and emits a massive heat wave that burns enemies that stand in it while accumulating a pyro effect.
To those who don't fully get it, is that the pyro effect is essentially a blast version of the freeze blast effect on the Morona, Chione, and Jotun. I thought it was originally just after the effect fully fills up, it essentially creates like a puddle of magma that's permanently on the battlefield, and essentially deals fire damage and accumulates a blast if a robot steps on it. It's essentially a weapon that's able to create lava from the Abyss map.
Damage is increased if opposing robots are closer. That makes sense. That does make sense. It's kind of like the Calamity and the Scourge. Like the closer you get, the stronger they are.
And that the extra damage when robots are closer to the volcano during the Blazing Rush actually makes logical sense, since fire, if you literally put your head like literally right next to the source of fire, it's gonna hurt. It's going to be very, very, very hot. So it makes perfect sense here.
Suffering a blast effect. Okay. Pyro explodes into a zone that deals fire damage over time. Alright. Ability damage. Alright. Secondary ability. Overheat Accelerator. Overheat Accelerator. The Titan overloads its reactor, igniting itself into flames. Wow. Dealing damage to itself. But of course it does damage to other people too, right?
Actually, no. Because if it could do that, then that would make it a little too good. It's essentially you deal 2% of your it deals 2% of your Titan's HP per second. In exchange, you move slightly faster, and you deal more damage with your gun. With your outgoing damage is increased. Essentially, it's essentially a self-sacrifice trade-off, if that makes sense.
Increases its speed. All right, so this is active. So they're both of the abilities involve like a heat area effect, increased speed. Let's see. And did they both damage itself? Damage increases when opposing robots. So just the second one, this concept seems pretty cool, Toxin. Well thought out. Yeah, I agree. It sounds.
Yeah. I did this one very well.
Yes. So, Junior, of course you can join our Discord. That would be great because it'd be a lot easier to communicate some things. I'll put the link. So the link shows up every once in a while during the chat. So you can either click on that or I can put a new link in there. So I like this. I like this guy. This thing's cool. This volcano. And then we've got, okay, it's a brawler. All right, they have 3 betas. Okay. And then the next one is Dawnbringer. Okay, Dawnbringer is a hybrid of suppression and support Titan developed by Space Tech using its unique base design, almost resembling the Ether. Dawnbringer is supported with the balance of strength and durability for multiple battle situations. Unlike the Ether, the Titan uses massive swords. I do like this. This is cool.
Thought we needed more melee weapons in this game. Like we have the Tesla guns, we have the harpoon weapons. How about swords? Well, technically the swords aren't melee since you fire them at range for its primary ability, but they're still. Who doesn't like swords?
I wish they would have more melee weapons in this game.
That's literally what I just said, but yeah, it's alright.
Allows swords to hover in place before getting launched at high speeds towards opposing robots. Another host to repeat the process again. Okay. All right. Ability, Swords of Judgment. Didn't highlight the S. The Titan generates up to 5 swords upwards in an arc above itself. The Titan has increased movement speed for each sword generated. After generating the sword, the Titan fires them towards a target. The swords apply suppression while repeatedly pierce the target and fly towards another robot to suffer the same fate. Wow, that sounds complicated. That's kind of cool, though.
It may be complicated, but you gotta admit, like he said, that would be very cool. And to those curious on, like, how would the Dawnbringer even create these swords? Well, it doesn't, like, form them out of thin air. Instead, there's, like, multiple... There's, like, a spine-like thing on it. There's, like, these wing thingies that look... These wing thingies on its back that almost resembles a cape. Instead, hosts the swords, and they, like, come out of there, come out from the back, and hover in an arc above it. Like, that would... Especially that the Dawnbringer itself was inspired by... primarily Garen from League of Legends, if you played it, I'm already gonna say that if I do manage to get a model for the Dawnbringer, it's gonna be inspired by anime mechs. So a bit like the Aether and Seraph, since they're the most human-like of all the robots in the game.
So the main thing is suppression, though, right? I mean, it looks like it does damage, or it does not do damage. It does a little bit of damage, 942 here.
Now, you may notice that the damage is very low, but to those who've already seen this, there is a little tiny surprise waiting later.
Alright, and then the second is Beacon of Light. Titan places a glowing beacon right near itself. While the beacon is placed, all the other allied robots gain a significant increase to their movement speed. Okay. So it's kind of like a cross between a Sirius and a Phantom or something.
As mostly.
Or even the new robot, the Bagliore. The new beacon keeps the damage and speed increase for 5 extra seconds. Okay. After it returns. Okay. Speed increase 15%. Dawnbringer swords passive. The damage of the swords increase from the level of the Titan's weapon. Oh, so you're like doing like the Hawk thing, right? Where...
Yeah, I think that honestly makes sense for the swords. Like, they do low damage. I mean, the Hawk's laser already does quite some good damage, but the higher your weapon levels are, which, like he said before, he and I recommend you upgrade your weapon levels first, and then the robots, then the modules. Pretty sure that's the order. I definitely know the weapons are first, but... Let's continue. The Hawk laser already does a lot of damage, but again, the higher the weapon levels are, the more damage it'll do. Thought that it'd be clever to put that on top, along with the Dawnbringer swords, and have that as a passive. I think it was cool.
The damage output's based on how far you upgrade your weapons. That's interesting. Okay. 2 alpha. Oh, and...
It's actually 2 beta and an alpha, not 2 alpha and 1 beta.
The beta. Okay. All right. So it's like the ether's setup. All right. Aneth? Is that how you pronounce that?
I know this one is a bit difficult when he first had a look at it. But for Gman, he was close to pronouncing it right. It's pronounced Anith. Like Anithia or something. And primarily the name origin for it is primarily to this rare NPC that spawns in Warcraft. And I thought, hey, that sounds like the perfect name for a Titan. And that already makes sense that this Titan was inspired from, has a reptilian design to it. It's got like scales on its body. I don't have a model for this thing and most of the others, but if I do decide to make a model for it, it's gonna have a reptilian like design and color scheme.
Aneth? Incoherent Sibling, you're back! Yeah, you know, I think Minos is one of my favorites too. I like the Luchador, and then I like the Minos.
He is right, actually. The Minos is probably one of the most fun Titans to run. It's not great for Champion League, but despite that, it's a blast to play with. Even for myself, when I got my hands on the Ox Minos for the first time, when it was a reward in a gift marathon, I had quite some struggles trying to make use of it. But it was still a blast to run with, especially if you got the Lunar Squalls on it.
I think. I haven't really played the Indra or the Sharanga, so I'm not, or I haven't played the Ao Ming either, so I don't know about those robots. Okay, so the Aneth. It's a Hunter Titan, pinnacle of warfare. Aneth uses most advanced blah blah blah. Yeah, technology from the Hawk. Huh, okay. A primary ability is Megamorph. Uh-oh, they're gonna have the Power Rangers.
Oh my god, I can no longer unsee it. Oh, dude. Oh, people are gonna probably look at this and mistake it as a Power Rangers Titan if I did not explain that this is supposed to be like a reptilian like Titan. But the name was originally Omegamorph, not just Megamorph. But I felt like Megamorph made a bit more sense, but because he said we have a Power Rangers thing, I can no longer unsee it. Or unhear it, so thanks, Gman. I now gotta change the name.
Power Rangers are gonna take off. The Titan takes off and transforms. Oh, okay. So it's more like Transformers.
Okay. It's a bit like the Transformers, but to simply put it simply, the Aneth is simply just a Titan equivalent to the Hawk. And that's about it.
Oh, and exoskeleton. Equipped with weapons, disabled during flight. Built-in weapon. Lockdown. EMP. Aegis. Wow. This one's kind of cool. Has a little bit of everything. While in the air, it has a reinforced reflector. Okay.
I mean, I thought it would be very fitting for the Titan Hawk to have a reinforced reflector instead of a regular one. I mean, this is the Titan Hawk. It needs a better reflector than the original.
Built-in gun range. Block damage 95%. Return damage 50%. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. Secondary ability is Onslaught Command. Alright, the Titan marks either a robot or a Titan. If the ally was marked, then they will deal more damage for you. Hello, you apply this to your allies.
It's actually either allies or enemies. And your allies get like deal more damage and take less damage, but enemies deal less damage but also take more damage. It's simply applying death. It's essentially a death mark, a placeable death mark, inspired by the Pathfinder's tracker, but also applied to allies. And honestly, I felt like the Pathfinder should have done the same thing, like apply the tracker thingy to allies to allow them to move faster if they're locked onto a robot. Or simply allow, I think the Pathfinder should have also had like a tiny quirk that if allied robots are locked onto the target you marked, they move slightly faster, and because they're like hunting for it. It's essentially like hunter versus prey. Like, I think that would be very cool. Slight change. I know they're not gonna do it. Pathfinder's getting a tiny bit old, but I still love it, and it would be cool.
While a mark is applied, and deals increased damage, regardless, along with increased speed, while locked onto a. That's interesting. That's an interesting. If an ally was marked, so I guess it's either or.
Exactly.
So you could use it to mark an enemy, and you would deal damage, or if you mark an ally, then they are able to deal more damage, right? That's interesting. Damage increase. Okay. Allies. Yeah, allies should get a bigger buff. I agree. Damage taken 35%. Reinforced reflector for the duration. Okay. Ah, that's interesting. Okay. How many more we got? Well, we'll keep going, but I'm running out of time here. So, Heretic from DSC, primary Titan that overloads electricals to empower itself. Huh. The Titan throws up 3 links towards its enemy when the lasso connects. Okay, so it's kind of like the Indra's lasso, but you can do 3 of them. Is that
up to 3 if there's at least 3 or less robots in your range, the robots in the Titan's line of sight. Like, if there's just, I think the Indra does the same thing, but I don't fully remember. But yeah, Heretic throws 3 Indra lassos instead of just 1.
my understanding? Applies slow, applies suppression. If the enemies maintain contact with the lasso during the duration of the ability, they will suffer more damage. Okay. Damage will slightly increase per foe affected. Interesting. Alright, suppression reduces damage 35 and 65%. Allies or enemies. Yeah. It's interesting that you have an ability that you can apply to either or. It's not just...
It's honestly something that should have been in the game for quite a while. At least in my opinion.
I don't know if that would work, though, because I don't think they have the mechanics in the game to... I don't know, maybe. Secondary ability is Overcharge. Titan overloads its reactor, increasing outgoing damage. Okay. So it's kind of like the shell with its atom. Titan is immune to DOT, EMP, and slow. After the duration of the tire it suppresses itself and a fatigue effect. Interesting.
The fatigue effect, by the way, was made before the Basigliari with its fatigue. And this is essentially, you can see right here is how I think fatigue would work. But Basigliari came out, so the fatigue effect's gonna get changed to how the fatigue worked for Basigliari.
The damage taken from all other sources slows down the Titan. Fatigue increases damage taken. Interesting. Okay, I'm sorry, Coxon. The one after this will be my favorite. All right, I'm gonna go through it.
Certainly will say what should be, since I put lots of work. This is probably the one Titan that took me the longest to make, since this, along with the Ironclad, is released together and is part of a storyline event.
Quickly, because I gotta go. Tyrant. Will let you rule the battlefield. Titan can overpower whatever it comes its way due to its unparalleled strength. Even your own allies will be scared. That's too funny. All right, primary ability, Omega Repulse. What is this, like a giant leech?
Yes, sir, it is.
Titan activates the defense system that absorbs most of the damage. If there's an enemy in the robot's Titan, the Titan can establish a connection. Incoming damage. The bond slows down foes and applies suppression, static, and EMP. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. Reduces suppression. Okay, reduces the enemy's damage. Okay. EMP. Okay. Static. Okay, static is what? Disables the enemy's weapon systems. Okay, I do like that one. EMP should do that, but I guess it'd be too much. You'd be left totally defenseless. But
at least you'll still have like your ability to somewhat help you. That mostly depends on the robot you're using.
yeah, I like that. Okay. Secondary ability is Infernal Assault. The Titan deploys a core module. The longer you push, the further. Okay, so just like the Mars or like the new robot's beacon. After landing, the module activates, creates a flaming vortex. Woo, that sounds cool. Applies the pyro effect. Okay. While the module is deployed, Tyrant increases its movement speed by 12 kilometers. Wow. Pyro explodes into a zone. Okay.
Once again, Pyro is the blast effect of the Freeze Blast from Morona, Chion, and Jotun.
We talked about that from the Titan earlier. Intimidating presence. The robot's presence scares its allies. If you get too close to it.
The Intimidating Presence passive is actually like a lore set of things, since whenever you're piloting a tyrant, due to the flavor text, the Titan will let you rule the battlefield with an iron fist. It's primarily because, like, you get the feeling they are looking at you in the tyrant, they're near you, they view you as, like, a very serious threat. And so it's, like, scared, your allies will be nervous, enemies will cower. Like, especially the legendary pilot I had for the tyrant. And also, speaking of the Tyrant, it was also, aside from the Arbiter, the Tyrant was actually my first ever War Robots concept. But it was more of like a Fenrir that allows you to change what shield type it has. But that was scrapped due to balancing problems, especially with some of the new ones that I made, like the Exoskeleton and Face Shield. That would be a bit too much. So the Tyrant was eventually remade into the Titan we have here.
Allies get increased movement speed. Ah, interesting. That's interesting. I do like that. And with that talk, thank you, Not a Nerd. I appreciate you coming and playing. Champion League is tough. It really is.
Even with the hanger I currently got and the amount of money I dropped for it, I am still having some struggles. Like there was multiple times in the past where I still played good, and yet I kept losing or from demoting to Master League, and just the cycle continues to repeat. It's just frustrating.
And I think those last two games with both me, Spaz in there, we call really high league people. So that's kind of the way it works. Can you do Indra? Yeah, Josh, I'm sorry there's no more games today. I promised Toxin we would talk about his concepts. Toxin comes up with concepts all the time, things that he'd like to see in the game.
Which I still am, but for the time being, I am taking a break. It's getting a bit stressful and slowly beginning to take a toll on my health. And yeah, that's essentially the reason why my concepts are going to be a bit slower as of now, and not as fast as before.
And we just take a few minutes each week to see his new ideas. And they're not real, like they're not going to become things in the game, but it's just things that he's thinks would be cool. That if Pixonic would look at this, they could adopt them. But anyway.
They need to. They must.
Let's just let's look and see what we got. He's got weapons this week, I think.
And a robot to solve. It's essentially the result if you manage to put the clues I gave you in your Discord server together. Oh yeah, his Discord will be linked in the description for those who want to join.
All right, so we're going to start with the repeater, the heavy, medium autocannon that immobilizes the target. Okay, that sounds like, I don't know. I don't know what it sounds like. I guess like a pulsar, maybe?
A pulsar, but in the heavy slot. Probably the one weapon I am still waiting to see added to the game is a heavy version of the pulsar.
Something like that. We've got 600 meters range, but it's a heavy. So it's like a heavy pulsar, maybe? All right, now we are the Mangler, Armageddon Heavy Ravager. Okay, so this is a family.
A tiny tidbit about the Mangler specifically is that it's one of only 2 concepts of mine that I had to completely change the name because Pixonic has chosen that name for a robot for the current content. So originally the first name was the Mauler, but then they took that for the Titan for this update, and so I had to change it to Mangler. And I thought Mangler was slightly better. I don't know why the Titan is named Mauler. Mauler sounds better for a weapon than a Titan or a robot. But that's just me.
Compact shotgun that does not require reloading. The gun shoots blasts of plasma charges at rapid speeds. During continuous firing, the gun's rate begins to decrease while it overheats. All right, so it's kind of like the Fainter, right? A little bit?
I don't think saying it's like the Fainter is a bit of an understatement. It's essentially a shotgun and atomizer mixed together. It's like the machine guns and Korean lasers. They all had their own little gimmick when they heat up. The machine guns become inaccurate. The lasers decrease in damage. The shotguns here, their fire rate goes down as they heat up. Essentially, they heat up so much essentially once they're fully heated, they fire slower than the Grom and Squall.
But it doesn't lock. It doesn't lock down. What does it?
It doesn't lock down. It essentially has the slow effect from the ultimate flamethrowers, i.e. Igniter and Blaze.
Do? Compact shotgun. What's the range? 500 meters. So I assume it's not that accurate. What's the effect? What's the effect? Did I miss it? A compact shotgun that does not require reloading. Plasma charges. Overheating. I'm confused a little bit on this one, but we're going to move on to the next one. The migraine. Oh, migraine headache.
I seriously, to this day, find these the funniest names I've ever put for a weapon. And because all of them have like something to do with the head, well, head damage or so. But the funny part about these weapons is that they fire like, think of it as like firing a bomb, like the Dune and Hurricane, and they're meant to like land on top of the top of the robot, essentially trying to attack the pilot itself. Well, that's essentially how these go.
The concussion and the hemorrhage. Wow, those are some serious names. A light weapon that fires 3 plasma charges that track and attached. So they're like homing bullets, but they're plasma, not bullets. After the charge is attached to something, they emit waves of plasma that accumulate a static effect. Interesting.
Another good inspiration for these weapons is the plasma launcher from Halo Reach and how it works. It's also one of my favorites in the game, and I certainly wanted to adapt it into a weapon. And I think it's pretty cool.
And then the charges will explode, causing additional damage. Okay. That's cool. I like that one. That's kind of neat. It doesn't have one. It's like infinite lasers with machine guns. Okay, I got it. That was for the previous weapon. All right, the dagger, the machete, and the cleaver. Whew. Man, you've got some scary names.
Yeah, yes, I watched horror movies. How could you tell?
The compact plasma machine gun that applies blast charge. Well, interesting. Blast charge on a plasma weapon. All right.
Now, because these are machine guns that apply blast, some would ask me which machine gun type am I taking these for? Either the shredder or puncher or the damper and tamer. Well, I think it makes a lot of sense for these to be like the damper and tamer and subduer, but if these things get nerfed and the damper and tamer is how I'd want these to be, you know what happened with the nerfs of the damper and tamer. They were some of the most powerful weapons in the game, and they were nerfed to Kingdom Hearts. And I'm not wanting that for these guys, so I decided these are said to be the puncher and shredder, slightly more powerful, and they apply blast. So I thought that was perfect.
500 meters.
I might try and do another damper and I might try and do a tamer and damper type weapon someday. Maybe that will go for the new robot that I have in the works. Well, for later, since I stopped working on it for a bit, and I will continue it later.
Okay. All right. And then we've got the kunai, fracture, and the skewer. Interesting. All right. A light weapon that fires harpoons. Oh, interesting. That explode on contact. So they're like harpoon rockets?
To a tiny degree, yes, but also no. The inspiration for these is essentially, think of them as like, the ballista bolt launchers that you see on castles in some medieval movies. That's essentially what these weapons are. And plus, they're like quite large, and set to the point where they can literally stick into a robot or an obstacle. And I thought that would be very cool.
Advanced technology allows harpoons to stick to any surface, but it takes a bit of time for them to explode. Okay. While the spears are impaled into a robot, it sends burst waves of flames that apply a pyro effect. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's a little bit different. 600 meters. Oh, but
the 600 meter range is actually going to get nerfed to 500.
That's a long.
Because spoilers for later on the list. I made a Titan version of these that are 500 meter range. So I thought I would go ahead and nerf the originals to 500 to match their Titan brothers.
Long range. Huh. Hey, Rashesh. You're coming at the tail end. We're about to finish up here. All right, next is the Shrieker, the Howler, and the Silencer.
Yes, I know there's the Howler that's coming with the Condor, but this one was made way before those were revealed and were guaranteed to come in an update. And the Howler is actually the other concept that I had to change the name. I don't remember what it is right now. I'll have it on screen, but I do know I changed it. And another tiny little note about this and the future Sonic weapons I'll make. They're not gonna do the great damage like the Bugatti weapons and the regular Sonic weapons. They won't do that. Since great damage, I know great damage is what makes the Sonic weapons really, really good. But I still think having that with all these other Sonic weapons I have, in addition to what they already do, that would be a bit too much.
All right. A Sonic weapon. All right. So it's new Sonics. Fires ghostly projectiles that haunt the enemies. That's pretty funny.
The haunt enemies part, I think you can tell what type of event has these.
After a certain number of hits, target will suffer the haunt effect, causing it to move randomly. Interesting. The target will also have a glow effect. What is glow? So the haunt makes you move erratically, glow preventing affected targets to hide. Oh, interesting. It like tells everybody where you are, kind of, right?
I guess that you could say it like that, but that's not how I intentionally designed the glow effect. How it actually works is that, like, if it's applied to a robot, that essentially prevents them from hiding in stealth. Like, say you give an emoji or a crisis the glow effect. Their abilities will still work, it's just their stealth won't activate. It essentially acts like every ally has a quantum radar activate, and they can all see the stealth robot. And I already wanted to make an anti-stealth thingy for quite a while during the time, so I think the glow effect's the best way to do.
Okay, that's cool. The Revenge, Payback, and Massacre. Woo. A compact rocket launcher for close-range combat. Each missile accumulates a rust effect. Okay, so it's like the rust rockets, but once fully accumulated, will be infected with DOT. Okay, all right. So you have rust and...
Simply put, the Revenge, Payback, and Massacre are essentially Rime, Cryo, and Glacier, but instead of freeze, it's rust. And also, the 300-meter range and 18-second reload is going to get buffed, because the ice rockets are getting buffed, which I am very happy about. And I will flip a table if Pixonic nerfs them at some point in the future after their buff. So these weapons will get the same treatment, 350-meter range, and 10.5-second reload.
DOT. Okay, cool. All right, the next one is the Rake, Razor, and Ripper. A light electric autocannon that fires fusion of electrical particles tipped with venom. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Each hit applies a static effect, okay, which shuts down the weapon systems, and then the glow effect, which prevents them from hiding. And then there's a long-lasting DOT. Ooh, it's got a little bit of everything.
Well, if I gave this weapon set virtually every negative effect in the game that I could apply, then that would make it way, way, way too good, and I would have to nerf it immediately. But I think these 3 effects are enough. I could remove the glow effect and just have it with static and dot, but like, again, I already wanted to have some anti-stealth stuff for a bit, so it's fine. It's fine.
600 meters. Effect damage 25 per second. Okay. All right. Moving on, we've got the Seed, Wildfire, and Overheat. advanced light flamethrower that incinerates enemies with a high temperature mixture. Okay, so this is like the flamethrowers, but they've been turned up to 11.
Well, the only real things are added the pyro effect, and you can aim them easier. That's about it. Plus, shout out to the regular flamethrowers. I really like them, but they're just so frustrating to aim. Like, it feels like it's almost impossible to aim them at times when using them.
Kind of like, and they have more effects. They've got the pyro effect. Unlike most flamethrowers, this one fires, so you can aim them easier. I think that's a little too good to be true, though, maybe. But it's really interesting.
And now the robot here is where all the clues from the Discord server come in. I was seriously hoping he was able to solve them before I revealed it.
Let's see here. Oh, there's some more robots. How many more we got to go? Hey, Mr. Geest, welcome. You're coming at the very end. I'm almost done. So this is a robot. It's called the Tarantula. And the Ophion may be a Titan killer, but the Tarantula is a four-legged robot. It doesn't fly, but it sticks to the ground. Lures its prey. Oh, it has a magnetic thing that pulls them to you. That's kind of cool. Unstoppable resonance.
It's actually unstable resonance, not unstoppable resonance. Unstoppable resonance would be cool, but I stick to unstable.
Can't say the word. The robot elevates its tower, opens several platings over its body, discharges multiple electrical waves that electrocute while dealing increased damage to Titan. Multiple hits also accumulate the EMP and static. Interesting. And then you've got, while the robot cannot move while the ability is active.
That will be spoilers for a new pilot for the Tarantula once I work on the update later.
And then we've got EMP and static. Okay. Damage to Titans. Nice. I don't like Titans, so anything that kills Titans faster is better.
I mean, I knew he's gonna get a kick out of it since this guy doesn't like Titans as much as me, so he's gonna get a kick out of any Titan killer I make. Curious to know which one he likes the best, the Tarantula, Bastion, or the Wyvern. For my opinion, the Wyvern's still my favorite concept of all of them.
Passive effect. Hazard proof. The plating on the Tarantula is coated with a special dried substance that makes the robot permanently immune. Huh, that's interesting. To radiation weapons, specifically. I see, okay.
This is going to get changed soon. I don't know when, but I feel like the radiation weapons are gonna get nerfed, but I think it's a bit unfair for them to be immune to weapons that are gonna get nerfed. So it's gonna get changed. I don't know what weapons I should make it immune to, but I'll think about it soon.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. And I guess that's the last one, which works. How do you pronounce this, Red Feather? I guess maybe I should have been on.
It's pronounced. You were pronouncing it right. It's Terethus, and then Zenith and Karmatic. These are meant to be like weapons from a very, very old age, like essentially names for like older generation weapons.
Voice channel, voice comms.
Maybe, but I'm at least helping you out here.
Terethus? The medium is a Zenith. Well, we already have a Zenith, don't we? Or it's a Zenith.
It's Zenith, but this one's a Zenith. Essentially sounding like names. These names were meant to sound like Names from like Warcraft's Zareth Mortis, if you see what I mean.
What the fuck? Oh, that's weird. Anyways, it's a corrosive laser. Ah, that's kind of cool. I like the idea of a corrosive laser. ROT. That's rust over time, right?
It's a rot, not rust over time. Rust over time could work, but each rust weapon as of now applies multiple stacks each hit, so it's a rot, not rust over time.
Okay, medium. You got mediums, and okay, so it's a full family. Oh no, hold on. That was the medium and the heavy, and then this is the new weapon. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, so now we're gonna, yeah, so I may not get to them all, Red Feather. I apologize. Alright, this is the... Alright, just a minute. I'm like a little confused here. Alright, so the Fang. So, you know, Red Feather, one thing I noticed is I feel like sometimes your names, at least in my opinion, don't quite match up. Like the Fang is, you know, I think of like a tooth, right? And then
So a little bit here is that the Fang isn't going to be the final name for it. It's more of a placeholder. Since sometimes if I struggle to know something I want for the other weapons, struggling for a name, I usually have a dictionary to help me with that. But I've had so much trouble trying to figure out for the light version that I was almost close to just having just the medium and heavy weapons and not have a light one, but I don't want to do that. So it's just going to be... So as of now, the Fang is just a placeholder until I find a name that's better. Or I could just go the completely stupid direction and not have a light version at all. But at the same time, not having a light weapon is gonna be a mistake since these weapons go with the synthesizer from a while back, and the synthesizer's weapon set is too light, too medium. So not having a light weapon that's intentionally meant to go on the robot that has this weapon set released would be a stupid mistake, and I don't want to have that.
the Weaver, I think of like, you know, weaving something, and then Unraveler. I guess Unraveler and Weaver could kind of be like the opposites of each other. So I think you need to like think about your names. So that's just my opinion. So, anyways, a light weapon that fires bursts of sonic projectiles. Okay, so is it like the Titan weapon, like the Veyron and the not the Bugatti weapons?
Yep, these are essentially the Bugatti weapons, but for the regular robots.
The Veyron and the Evora, but robot version. I think that's a cool idea. I think they should have done that already. But
100% agree. Like, I don't know why they didn't do this yet.
And it applies the glow effect. Okay, cool.
You did also miss at the end of the description that the weapons have a built-in face shield generator, like the needle, spike, and stake. They have like a built-in face shield generator. But unlike the harpoon weapons, the shield will only regenerate when the weapon is not reloading. And I think that would be a fine trade-off, especially for sonic weapons.
Cool. The next one is the Asphyxiate. Ooh. Unique enter that fires electric plasma bolts that stuns energy shields.
before he gets any further into this, if you can guess what weapon outside of War Robots that inspired the Asphyxiate, I will genuinely be surprised. And I did say earlier with the Fang Weaver and Unraveler that having neither just having missing one weapon from the family was a stupid idea. But the only reason that this is only a medium version for this weapon, the reason for that is I think how this weapon works would be a little too powerful for the light and heavy. So there's not this along with only one other set of weapons is the only time I'm not gonna have a full set of family weapon set. Just to keep in your head.
Okay, the weapon overcharges and launches a charged plasma bolt. EMP. That's interesting. That's an interesting idea.
To those who had a bit of struggle trying to figure it out, the weapon that inspired the Asphyxiate was the plasma pistol from the Halo games. And I certainly like the plasma pistol, so I adapted it into a weapon. And I will go ahead and show you a clip of why.
Seconds remaining.
What's red feather saying? Lower maximum durability. Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know what else to fit. That's that's cool. I know. I'm being picky about the names, so don't you don't need to pay attention to me too much. All right, now we got the proboscis, the canine. So the canine you could have maybe combined with the fang, for example. The canine is a dog, but it's also a tooth.
I sort of could, but like if I swapped proboscis and fang, like the fang makes perfect sense for this set. The proboscis, canine, and mandible, but out there would be proboscis, Weaver, and Unraveler, and that would just make it sound a little more ridiculous.
I guess a canine, a fang would be an incisor. I think it's these guys, right? The pointy ones.
Oh, I think incisor makes a lot more sense. Well, no, wait, actually, no, it doesn't. But it does sound way different, and I could have that as the removing the placeholder for Fang and have it Incisor, Weaver, and Unraveler. I think that could work.
But anyways, so a light laser that burns enemies, contiguous beam, damage from this weapon forcefully causes defense of enemies to decay. Okay, and then you apply the the rust. Okay, all right.
You did kind of miss that at the end of that. I added a little. I pulled the Skirt Sparking Calamity for it. That the closer you are, the damage increases for the wet lasers, and I think we needed a bit more weapons that can have that.
The Kaiken. Okay. A rapid-firing, medium-range grenade launcher. I like the rapid-fire. So you know how, like in anime, they always have like the rockets, like they'll be on like their shoulders, or the rocket launchers always shoot like all the rockets go like everywhere. I think they'd be cool. It would be cool if they had a weapon like that in the game. Like I thought the rust rockets, the claw and the talon. I thought that.
Yeah. I think Pixel needs to make at least one weapon that can do it. So far, the only weapons that come close to it are the Spiral, Hydra, and Chimera, but those weapons are just egregious failures. Especially the Hydra. I don't think there's anyone that disagrees with me that the Hydra is probably the worst weapon in the entire game. Like, that is automatically going to be at the bottom of the list if I decide to do a video ranking every weapon in the game.
It would be like that, but they're not. They're like, one rocket, one rocket, one rocket, one rocket. I think it'd be cool if they shot up and they were all crazy. Kind of like Hurricanes in the new Dune, but they went all crazy, not just shoot straight.
Yeah, I could probably work on those as like an off-meta release. I don't know what else I would do for them. But I definitely know I'm not gonna. But the definite thing I know is I'm not making them 1100 meter range if I decide to make them. I'm not doing that. I hate the Dune and Hurricane enough already. I'm not making more of them. And I'm also happy they didn't make a light version, because if that happens, I will personally riot their company if I have to.
So, I like the idea of this is a medium range rapid firing grenade. That's cool. Launches rockets, projectiles that explode on contact, and a freeze effect. Okay, cool. So it's like the rust rockets, but freeze rockets.
Technically, the Kaiken and such are essentially a reverse of the Sisyphos, Lapras, and Cestus. Instead of blast, it's freeze. And I think that would be very cool. And I did add a little tiny gimmick to the weapons that if you fully freeze a robot that has a bit of blast, it will cause the blast effect to detonate faster. Like, it's essentially like a reaction or such. And note that gimmick will also apply to the mothership that comes along with it, and the Wyvern with its built-in weapons.
Moon Cancer. Amazon Receiver. Beaver. Oh, the Wyvern. Okay, alright. I guess sometimes it's hard to envision exactly what these look like. That'd be cool.
I would personally love someone to help me with designing them, because I tried to do that with a 3D modeling software, not in Lego, and I certainly gave up because it was a massive struggle.
If you could somehow come up with, if you had your concepts, if you could somehow come up with some art, man, that'd be super cool. I think. I know it's a lot to ask, but
I generally be very, very much appreciate if someone can actually help assist me in, or essentially just flat out turn these and make them to reality, make 3D models, animations, and such. I would love to see that. If any of you can, you just hit me in my DMs and I will promote it on my channel.
Maybe you could make fewer concepts or slow them down and try to figure out a way to do some art. That'd be cool. But I don't know. That's just a thought. Okay, the Switchblade. A medium plasma weapon that fires bursts of energy continuously without reloading. Okay. So like the Fainter.
Kind of surprising the Fainter was the automatic weapon that came in your head. Technically, the Switchblade and Longsword are medium and heavy versions of the spear that came with the Nether. And I'm honestly surprised that they did not make them already. Like, what? Why not just have these for the Nether either way?
Second shot. Oh, so you're combining like the Fainter and like radiation weapons. Kind of. Every third shot, the core cools down. Okay. Alright. Medium. Oh, I should stop the recording on here. Alright. The Sliver. Alright. A super unique weapon that fires special needles that track foes. Ooh, I like this idea. This sounds cool.
And if you can tell, if you judge him by what he said there, You can try and guess which Halo weapon inspired these. I'll give you a second. Yep, it's the Needler. The Needler is really cool. So what's like the plasma pistol and the Asphyxiate turned the Needler into weapons. But unlike the Asphyxiate, I was able to make the Needler gun an entire family. The Sliver, Stinger, and Impaler.
What is it? New technology that allows it to cause a reaction if enough needles are embedded in the robot.
That's essentially the super combined effect that the Needler in Halo has. And I translated it into this.
Scientists and needs that cannot do any damage. Yeah, that makes sense that they would be blocked by shields. That's cool though. That's a neat idea. I like that one. So
essentially, these are going to be sort of gimmick weapons, like they do almost no damage, but it's their super combined explosion that's the one dealing the damage. It's essentially like the trickster and deceiver, how their damage output is extremely low, like beyond low, but their corrosion damage is what is dealing the damage for them. And I thought I would translate to this.
So far, that's my favorite.
And also, I already planned for how these will be like. These are essentially going to be, design-wise, they're going to be very identical to the Tamer and Damper, but instead of like being blue or orange, it's purple. And they also have some needles on the back of the guns to also act like the Needler, as it has the needles coming out of the gun. And I think that'd be cool.
A light rocket launcher designed for the Aetherus.
For the pronunciation, it's Aetherus, Kazorus, and Zolvorus. Like the Terithus, these weapons are meant to be like ancient weapons. The ancient or legendary.
Close combat, improved target lock system, and a good blast radius. Yeah, I like that too. Even though I don't like being killed by splash.
Well, I certainly love splash damage, and I get a kick for rocket launchers.
Blast. Affected robot explodes, dealing additional damage. Interesting. Okay. And then the pyro. We all know about pyro from previous.
Simply put, these weapons are just the claw, jaw, and talon, but instead of rust, it's fire with pyro and blast. We'll have to get rid of the blast effect. I don't know why I put that there.
Versions. Carbine.
Now we're on to the Titan weapons. This ought to be fun.
Okay. Oh, it's a Titan weapon. Alright. Powerful electric rifle that fires single electric charges, which fries. So it's kind of like an EMP, like deals increased damage, Aegis shield, firing static projectiles at incredible speeds. Interesting. Causes the foe's weapons to malfunction. Okay.
I was kind of sadistic when designing those weapons. Like, instead of just static, the weapons fire randomly. And God help you if these exist, and your weapons are ones that have a magazine and require reloading. Like, that would be kind of frustrating.
This is another Titan weapon, the Javelin.
The Javelin and Saber are the Titan equivalent to the kunai fractured skewer, so you know.
Fires a single spear that explodes on contact. Interesting. So is it an actual physical spear, or is it an energy, like a bolt, like an energy spear? Oh, allowed to stick to any surface. Maybe it's physical. That's interesting. The Burnout. An auxiliary flamethrower. The damage from this weapon ignores physical and energy shield. Alright. Unlike most flamethrowers, this one fires flames, allowing it to be easier to aim. Yeah, that's a big problem with flames. Okay. Hey, 224 MC. It's like a harpoon. Okay, I got it. I got it. Sounds like a halo, the needle. Yeah. Okay, so now we've got the chakram, an energy gun that can switch its firing mode. Looks like a laser cannon, fires superheated plasma bolts that apply static. Okay. At 350 meters, and fires plasma bolts at rapid speeds. Weapon switches firing mode depending on the range of the target. That's an interesting concept.
So essentially, what that means is that if you're at 500, if you're further than 350 meters range, the weapon fires projectiles like a laser cannon. But if you're closer than 350 meter range, the weapon fires like a machine gun. That's essentially how the chakram and odachi work.
So, I guess it switches to make it more efficient at that range. Is that the idea?
Technically, no.
You made these before the Pyro and Inferno were released? Wow.
Yep, I said there, the Burnouts and Eruption, those Titan flamethrowers, I made those before the Pyro and Inferno. So, I was essentially a prophet. And I already said it before that we should have had Titan flamethrowers way sooner. Like, I don't know why it took them until 9.9.9 to get us Titan flamethrowers. I don't know why it took them that long.
So you've been sitting on these things forever. That's crazy. And then we've got the Decimator. And there's an alpha version. Okay. High-speed energy machine gun for close combat. 3 barrels. Alright. When it's fired continuously, machine gun heats up. Okay. Oh, and the firing rate increases.
Because the fire rate increases for the Decimator and Annihilator, that also means there's going to be the sharpshooter and acceleration pilot skills for these weapons.
So, heating up is a good thing, not a bad thing in this case. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. The Cinder Shot. Sorry if I'm not highlighting it right every time, guys. It's kind of... I don't know if it's me or my mouse. Experimental... See, I missed the A. Experimental energy weapon that fires special plasma charges. Huh. The charge can be controlled by the moving robot's turret. But you can't fire another charge until the first one hit. Huh. This is a really, I think, a very interesting concept.
So essentially, what this means is that whenever you fire a plasma charge with this weapon, it will continuously fly, but you can turn your robot's turret to allow you to change the direction of where the charge is going to hit. And if there is a robot in the line of sight, it will automatically chase towards it. And I think this would be a very cool idea. I don't have an alpha version of it yet, as of now. I'm pretty sure this is essentially just going to be like the Cinder, that there's still to this day no alpha version. So I think it's fine that there's only a beta version, not an alpha.
I don't think it would be something I could use because I'm too impatient. But that's really interesting how you can control it by the direction of the turret.
Primarily, the inspiration is because of a weapon from Halo with the same name that also functions the same thing. You fire a projectile, and you can use your mouse to essentially allow it to move its direction. I'll have a clip on screen for you to have a look at that.
Great. What time is it? Ooh, it's after 12, guys. All right, we're gonna do one more, and then I'm sorry, Red Feather, but I'm gonna have to pull the plug. I'm like way off to the center now. Way off to the side. All right, last one, a Redemption. All right, a powerful close-range energy weapon with a beta slot strikes enemies with a burst of superheated plasma. Okay. With massive damage and moderate rate of fire, this weapon shall begin demolishing anything in sight.
Simply put, these are Titan Redeemers. And I think they'd be very cool. Very simple, but very cool.
Alright, that's going to be the last one. Maybe we could pick up next week. Okay. Alright, so we've got paint jobs. Very cool. Very cool.
So, just like me getting all the models for my robots, the paint jobs is going to work the same way. Shouldn't be that difficult. All you gotta do is just take that same model and apply a different color to it. And a good example here, different example of that is Star Phantom paint job, the Nebula. Simply how that one's going to play out is that what it's simply going to be, it's going to be the colors that are matching the Stellar series, along with some little holographic effects, like how the Stellar series has those like dingies around it. I think you get it.
Got a whole bunch of paint jobs here, but once again, it's kind of hard to imagine what they're like without a visual. Burning Metal. I like that one. Events and their titles. The Forgotten Factory.
So the events and their titles. This one is easily where, simply put, the event names are also going to be the update names. Like how currently the current event right now is the Icarus Cyber Show, and that's the name of the update. And if Pixar does decide to get around to adapting these into the game, it's gonna work like this. Like, they're gonna start with the Forgotten Factory update, and then they're gonna move down Demonic Apocalypse, Hashtag Reborn, Fallen Stars, and so on and so on.
Huh. So you're coming up with like we have like right now the Yandy auction, whatever it's called. So is this what you're referring to? Yeah, I don't have the sound back up. I have to do all kinds of shenanigans to get. All right, so we've got like our events. Okay, LB, thank you. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. Sorry, it was a little bit of I don't know, not so great maybe. At least
if you're talking about the stream, then I personally thought it was okay. It's like, in my eyes, I think it's okay, but it's certainly not the worst.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Okay.
Oh no, apologies if you can almost barely hear, or I sound like I'm glitching out from the voiceover from way back with this stream.
All right, so we've got a bunch of cool sounding events here. Full Metal Punk, I like that. Cathedral of Dawn, that's cool. Yeah, I kind of feel like that would be there, right? Because you're using the word cathedral and.
Yeah, I said that the Cathedral of Dawn is also where the Lights Crucible mothership came from. Well, fun fact for the day.
So yeah. And yeah, we got a whopping 3 people watching. You, Moonfeather, and I don't know who's the other person.
feather. I'm pretty sure that was by a complete accident, but that's generally just really funny.
Person. I guess it's kind of a bummer. It was a bummer stream. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, more people might, people might pop on and pop off, and I don't notice. So, but that's okay. Oh, let me go back up to that. I saw that somewhere.
If I remember correctly, what I told him is that the Masked Mansion event has 2 titles, not just one, because 2 robots came out at the same time, and I thought it would be a fun quirk to have those titles work for said robot. Like, one title is for the Masquerade, and the other is for the Night Stalker. I don't remember if I showed him the Night Stalker, though. I'll show it to him in his next stream.
Where did it go? I saw it. I promise. I saw it. There it is. Masked Mansion, the Masquerade, and the Rogue. Okay, all right, that makes sense. That's kind of what they're doing in the leaderboards and stuff, right? Yeah. Operation. Special editions. Okay, yeah.
So, again, like the paint jobs, but there is going to be slightly more difficult since you gotta create completely new models for the special editions. And also the only 2 I have models of for the special editions are the Dark Star Armor and the Demonic Vulture. That's about it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Titans. So these are Titan skins?
They're not the Titan skins. They're the Titan special editions.
Oh, and then these are these weapons now?
I kind of forgot to change the Mauler into Mangler, but it's not that big of a deal. I mostly forgot to change that when rewriting them. Primarily when I first changed it from Mauler to Mangler, I forgot to do that with the list and stuff, as well as the update order.
No, so I'm beyond that right now. There's a delay. You got to remember there's a delay.
I do see the delays of the stream and the streams to be somewhat annoying, but they're not annoying enough to be that big of a problem.
I'm down by the Mauler, Armageddon, Ravager. Yeah. Okay, and then we got Titan weapons. Okay. Okay. Well, why don't we save some for Wednesday? Let's do that.
That's essentially how I've done it for the longest time. But like the big reason I sort of think that I just genuinely feel like I don't want to disturb someone. Said person wanted to send these to if they're like busy or so, and I might accidentally make them upset or just waste their time having a look. But I at least respect Gman for checking them out, as long as it's not wasting his time with something else that he's supposed to do. I'm alright with it.
Oh, we got some visuals. Nice. It looks like Lego.
These were done with Lego, and I honestly thought like, hey, congrats to G-Man getting that Ultimate Phantom. And I thought I'd do something special with the concepts this time and showcase some models I have. And like I said up here, there aren't gonna be final. Most of them won't be final. You have the demonic vulture right here with the front, side, and rear views.
You got like are those Legos? Is that like a computer 3D Lego setup? That is so cool. These are models of most of the robots we've seen over the last few months. Some of them won't be final design. I have a regular edition in the works. Oh, wow. Oh, this is a side view. Okay. This is that the back, I guess? Wow. That's really cool.
And then right here we have the Bastion with the turret that throws out, and that's the weapons are the Drizzle and Gigavolt.
Viewpoints, Bastion with its turret that it throws out. So this is Bastion, and then this is the turret. Wow, that's really cool. Renegade and Blackwater Renegade. You got a special edition.
I did kind of acknowledge that with the demonic vulture, but I could get it. Yeah, the Renegade. Yeah, this is sort of what the Renegade looks like. There's the Asphyxiate.
That's pretty cool. Where's Deathtrooper? Deathtrooper's not here today.
I will say, I do think Deathtrooper did miss the good part with me. He showed some of the models. Deathtrooper, if you're seeing, looking up to this point, hello.
Oh, it's like the flowery version.
I can kind of see. It's not really flowers. It's more of like seaweed and coral that's like growing onto it. It's a renegade that's been sunken underwater for several years, and it's got like plants and algae growing onto the robot. Hence the name Blackwater. One of the events featuring this is more like a underwater themed event, like the Retro Treasures event from a while back.
Hectic with redemptions. Red Feather, I gotta say, I'm surprised, man. I didn't expect this to happen.
Hey, I knew I had to show you these like for quite a while. I had them for the longest time, but I just never got around to showing them off yet. I thought, hey, because you got the Ultimate Phantom, I think this was the perfect spot to show them off.
Expect you to do this. These are pretty cool. Oh, what? So this is the Arbiter with Ravengers, the Dark Star Arbiter.
And I definitely know you've seen this one in the Discord server, like, way before I showcased it. I thought I'd show you as, like, a little spoiler for the future. And you do notice that the Ravagers haven't been recolored yet. I haven't gotten a model for them yet. But I seriously like it. Definitely, it's not my favorite, but I certainly love it.
Nice, very nice. There's some extras. Because I was distracted, don't ask why. Very old model concept.
We got some with some actual behind the scenes or whatnot. But yeah, these are some of the first ones I made. The Rylith I used to have, but scrapped due to bouncing issues, like here. Essentially, what the Rylith was, it's basically a Fenrir, but with a super durable physical shield on the front. And when its heavy weapon was active, it would essentially apply taunt to every single enemy. And I felt like that was a little bit of a nightmare trying to make work. And so, resulting in it scrapped.
It's scrapped due to balancing issues.
I could try later to make it work. Try and do it again. Make it more balanced. But as of now, I have no plan to.
That one's a little hard to see. Pictures,
Sorry, apologies for the quality, but this was I took these on a very, very old tablet at the time.
I don't mean to be picky, but picture's a little fuzzy. Leviathan, Hellburner.
So to know what that meant, that the Leviathan was essentially a Hellburner, but its explosion actually kills itself. And that may sound like a little ridiculous, which deals ridiculous damage. Essentially, it is enough damage to insta-kill enemies. But the trade-off is once you blow, it's a one-time explosion, by the way. But so when you're ready to blow up, you kill enemies, but you go with it.
Plague drone. Oh, it's a drone. Okay.
That the Parasite early design. I'm looking to remake it, but yeah, this was like an old design for it. And ignore the color schemes for most of these. Is that I was quite limited with some of the Legos I currently own at the time. Those other models were done with a modeling studio or modeling software.
All the models I have together as of now. Very cool, Red Feather. I really appreciate you doing that. It really helps to kind of have the whatchamacallit, the description and the image at the same time. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I was wanting to have here, or that was the route I was taking.
It just helps. It just helps well, at least me, helps me understand what I'm looking at and what the concept is a little better. That's pretty cool. Death disappeared. Yeah, Death disappeared.
I was wondering where that man went, but it's not the biggest of worries.
Where'd he go? I don't even think he showed up there. Did he show up at all? Maybe he's busy. It's still summertime here, and people have got things going on. So, Bastion, Wrath, Vulture, Early Model, Arbiter, and the Turbo, Ignition, and Shade drones.
The drones are these things right here. You got the Turbo, Ignition, and Shade.
Okay.
Oh, and Gman, I was trying to say that you were supposed to save this for a future stream. This doc right here essentially has it all. And I'm meaning every single concept I've shown him is all in this little document. It says it right here. This is top information. Save this for a future stream.
Should I look at this? Over. Why am I way down here in the screen? It's really funky. I'm way over there. Let's shrink me down a little bit. I'm gigantic. See, guys, I told you they changed the OBS, and all of a sudden everything is wacky.
I think I found my thumbnail.
Hold on. What are you doing? Let's move me. Let's put this. Oh man. What is going on with where's my logo? I want to move my logo to another location. Let's put it over here. And then where's me? Where's my face? Let's move me back over here. All right. So,
So yeah, we're now on to the pilots. I'm at least hoping that during the time he remembered what the robots that go with him, the pilot's robot, actually does.
yeah, no, the game takes time. So you don't need. I've said this over and over and over, but you don't need to spend money. Money is the shortcut, right? If you don't have time, or you're impatient, and you have the money, then that's how you get, ahead quickly. But if you don't have money, and you do have time, you can.
How I usually call it is I basically just call it ahead of the curve to a small degree. That's just me though.
Play a lot, and you can achieve a lot of stuff with just playing. You don't have to spend money, but you have to play. That's the flip side. So it's either time or money. And as they say, time is money. So, yeah. So anyways, let's run through this real quick. All right, so another stream, maybe next Wednesday, or I guess I'm gonna get to this. Okay, so you've got here, what is this? What are we looking at? Are these these are pilots, right? Are these pilots? All right, so we got Darius.
And in case if those don't know, this here right at the end of their names is the robot they go, or that is for that they are for.
Crowley. Bloodthirsty Challenger. Arbiter's ability also applies time. Okay, all right. And then we've got Magistrate Burnside. That's pretty funny. Titanic Efforts. Bastion turret deals. Okay, all right. And remember, guys, these are just Red Feather's ideas, his concepts. These are not real. He would like them to be real, but they are not at the moment. Craig the Shackled. Brutish Predator. Vulture ignores any defense points while airborne. All right. Sirius Albedo. It's the same robot. They're both. You got two pilots for the same robot?
I mean, hey, they're giving the Condor 2 pilots. I could do the same for the Vulture.
Vengeful Visage. Upon getting airborne, Vulture is immune to negative effects and activates a reinforced reflector. Alright. And then what is this? This is Spectre. So this is like the Everett and the
Yep, that's exactly that.
what was the Demeter pilot? I can't.
In case you didn't remember, in case you forgot, which I'm pretty sure, the Demeter pilot that's similar is Apmeter.
I'm getting old, guys, man. I can't remember anything. Anyways, this is the pilot for the Wraith. Dreadful Glare. While charging its ability, the Wraith activates a quantum radar for a short time. Okay, so it's during the ability while charging?
Yeah, it's only. It's not when the ability is on cooldown. It's only like when you're holding down the ability button to charge it up.
Charging its ability. Oh, so you get quantum radar during the cooldown. That's kind of cool.
That does actually sound cool. I might have that for a future robot. I will have to think about it.
Do that in War Robots. They should have skills or things that help you. They used to with the with the drones when we had microchips.
Yep, only real veterans will know how that was like.
You could set it up to do
The youngsters will never know.
stuff that would help you when you were in your cooldown mode. But that's all that stuff. I think most of it's gone away. Ricardo Gonzalez. Ricardo's enthusiasm. Wild's ability is active. Zealot is immune to damage. Alright.
Now, in case you may think, oh, this pilot sounds stupid broken, being immune to damage? I balanced it to just a single second before the Zealot teleports to the robot. If it was like immune to damage, if I added like 2 more seconds for 3 or 2, then that could make it too powerful. So I think just a single second is the best.
Shindanui Kazuki. Hippogriff.
It's pronounced Shiranai. I'm sure that's how you pronounce her name. I pronounced her Shiranai for a long time, so that's what I'm going to stick with.
I don't remember the Hippogriff. Is that a new robot? Might of the Storm. Hippogriff deals increased damage while in flight and restores a portion of its HP. Okay. Alright, so it's kind of like the
a little tiny tidbit I forgot to mention that it's also when teleporting back to the translocator and landing. I think that's perfectly fair. The Hippogriff is essentially just the Siren and Harpy, but instead of fire and ice for its little vortex it creates, it's lightning, applying static. And it was pretty difficult to create, but I came with the little quirk that it has less firepower than the Harpy and Siren, but slightly more durability. 3 medium weapons at most.
Pilot for no, that's the EMP. The Gina pilot, right? For maybe that's not quite right for the Raptor. Anyways, we're not gonna worry about that. Karthus Vended. Alright, so Karthus's Grudge. Lurker is immune to defense mitigation when deploying the trap and activates stealth. Interesting. I like the stealth activation upon landing. I think that's super helpful. Nub, are you in a clan? I'm just looking at the chat. You know, if you're in a clan and they have a starbase, it's still really slow, but your clan can make memoriam and make microchips. It takes forever still, but it's like in a week you could get 5 more microchips than you would if you didn't.
That's honestly one thing I can agree on myself, is that in my opinion, the things that take the most time consuming to upgrade are the drones. And that's honestly been my strategy for a while. Like, if I get around to upgrading everything in my hangar, i.e. my mothership, robots, Titan, etc., the thing that's getting upgraded last, hands down, are the drones. Like, getting microchips as a free-to-play player, mostly, is one of the most grueling tracks of all.
Have that. So, you might want to think about joining a clan if you're not in a clan. And I think that's kind of why they did that with the star bases, because I think they're trying to push us into clans. The Reaper. What is this? All right, so this is Aura's Presence. After creating a hologram, Echo deals. Interesting. Yeah. So Nub, I understand. It is a challenge to get the Starbase upgraded fast enough. You know, we only have so much thorium every day, and I've donated like a lot of thorium, and we're still, I think, level 35 or something like that. So yeah, okay, I understand. It's a challenge. Wow, you're at level 57. I'm pretty sure. We're level 35. So, it's like it's taking forever. Rodney Vorak, Paragon. Vorak's Pride. Paragon deals increased damage and applies suppression. So I notice there's kind of a theme here. It's like a damage or healing.
That's probably to make sure I don't make the pilot skills too crazy. That's at least the strategy I have, is like not try and make the pilot skills not as crazy as the robot itself.
And I kind of feel that War Robots is doing the same thing. It's like the same, basically the same ability, but it's like a slightly different flavor. Mass Rogue. When applying an illusion, Masquerade deals increased damage and also applies the copied weapon's negative effect. That sounds cool. Okay, that's different. I like that. That's cool. Baroness Takahashi. Night Stalker. Masked Eclipse. This was Masked Rogue. This is Masked Eclipse. Okay. The zone of the Night Stalker's ability increases to 500 meters. Alright, alright. And restores some durability. Cool. Iskar of the Sands. Lucanus. Alright. Protection from the sands. The durability of Lucanus's exoskeleton and face shift is increased.
Think you meant face shield, not face shift.
But the robot's base durability is reduced. Okay, I think that's a fair.
This skill is pretty much those who want to have the exoskeleton more durable, as well as the shield, since the shield and exoskeleton are the main portions of the robot.
Trade-off. Oh, you got Yang Li. Yay, Yang Li. Dragon Mastery. When the ability ends, Cypher's absorber shields are still active for 5 seconds. When landing, the weapons only reattach after 7 seconds. So you've got a little bit of a disadvantage or a negative aspect of.
Yeah, slightly, since you get to keep 2 defensive walls that cannot break at all on the sides for 5 extra seconds when landing, but they'll only go away after 5 seconds, and your weapons get put back on 2 extra seconds after the shields are removed.
Using your ability. Here with no power cells. Yeah, power cells too. Pain in the butt. Oops, lost control of my. Cynthia Suzumori. Interesting. Electric DJ. Synthesizers.
That's primarily to give some flavor to the pilot. Like, the synthesizer's a robot named after the actual instrument, so I thought the pilot should just be a DJ.
These phase shifts, recharges. Cool. Alright. Derek Ryder, the Renegade. Rider speed. During the ability, Renegade is immune to lockdown. Okay. How many we got here? We're reaching the end. Okay, good. That's good for my timing. Suzu Vorak. So is this Vorak related to the other guy?
Actually, yes. Suzu is the young daughter of Rodney Vorak. That added some bit of lore sets.
Where was it? I don't remember. Anyways, we'll not worry about that right now. Suzu's aggression. After Harbinger uses the ability, it activates quantum radar. Okay.
How the pilot works is the Harbinger is essentially an upgrade of the Nether. Well, it's a Nether with an exoskeleton, and it's more of a reverse. Instead of Shieldbreaker for the ability usage, it gets a quantum radar. I think that makes a bit more sense. Adding another Shieldbreaker is kind of overdone.
George Edwin. It's like super normal name, or at least from an English speaking point of view. Suddenly. Interdimensional Savage. Wow.
How it actually works is that Edwin is actually someone from another timeline. Maybe. Oh wait, no. He's like a pilot from a frozen world.
Oh. Wervan's built-in weapons deal increased damage and have faster fire rate. Okay. Wallace Redfeather. Is that related to you, Redfeather?
Well, actually, no. I thought of having this like a little gag with the pilots. And to those asking, no, my real name isn't Wallace. Just I thought it would be hilarious to have like my name right here as a pilot and just again have it as like a little gag.
Red Feather's Barrier. The defense points Enforcer gives during the ability are immune to defense mitigation. That's interesting. Terrence Slate Needler Guns. Miner's Technique.
Essentially what that means is that Terrence is a pilot that works with the weapons, specifically the Sliver, Stinger, and Impaler.
Silver, Stinger, and Impaler require 9 less seconds in order to cause a reaction. 20%. Okay. And then Urza Magistrate Burnside. Okay. Is this related to the other Magistrate Burnside?
Actually, that Burnside for the Bastion and this one, they're actually the same person. Urza is simply Magistrate's actual name. It's just he was forced to change it to Magistrate because of his father, Belmont Burnside. For spoilers, the Titan pilot for the Tyrant.
Rebellious Effort. Ironclad's ability duration increases, but its speed is lowered by 20%. All right. And then looks like this is the last one. Grant and Weaver. Okay.
So to those confused, I'm sure Gman had like a tiny bit of confusion for who Weaver is. Grant, this pilot is essentially like the Kepri pilot, Misaki and Panchi, with the girl and the dog. It's a dude with a little spider, on his arm.
Spider Trainer. Tarantula is immune to negative effects. All right, some cool ideas. I just want to. Oh, whatever. Okay. So Red Feather says this is the last round of concepts for a while. I'm deciding to slow down for a bit. Okay. That, I mean, it takes a lot. I imagine.
These were the first set of pilots that I made before I made the secondary ones a little bit later.
It takes a lot of energy to think of all this stuff. So, and not just thinking of it, but actually writing it down, capturing it. So,
full on agree. A lot of it. People may look at my concepts right now and think it shouldn't be that bad making them, but no, you gotta have to think about them all, and also have the willpower to write them down on top of it.
You deserve a break. Magnus Garter. Is that a play on word? What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Magnum. Never mind. Anyways, Garter's Warning. After applying the
name Garter is also to reference a garter snake. I don't have pilot designs; those are definitely coming last. But the last name of Garter is to represent because he has a garter snake that's wrapping around his neck as a pet.
Mark onto a robot. The Arbiter gains increased movement speed. Okay. All right. And don't forget about the models in the future.
Yeah, that's going to be rough work, I will say.
Thank you, Wolfblood. GG's, man. I appreciate you coming. It's been a while. It's been a minute, as they say.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Wolfblood was in this stream, too. And I honestly wanted him to stick around a bit more so he can have a look at these, and he can share what he thinks about them.
Nowadays. Matt Andrew. All right, what does Matt do? Can I? This is not doing what I want it to do. Anyways, Dark Shroud. While in flight, the Vulture cannot be targeted from robots that use quantum radar. That's kind of cool. Interesting. Observer Calimanis. Master Stargazer Bastion's turret applies static and its ability duration is increased by 15%. Awesome. That sounds cool. Alexis Rose. Oh, here's the kilometer thing again. What do you...
I still to this day don't know what a freaking kilometer is. That might have turned into a little gag for Gman's community.
What are you guys talking about? Actually, Patriot, they use, so for I don't know, you're gonna have to correct me, Wolfblood, but don't you guys still use miles? No, like for liquid measurements and stuff like that. I know you guys are using the metric system, I'm pretty sure, but aren't you still using? Because I always hear people talking about miles in the UK, so that's what I thought. You guys kind of using both systems. Anyways, Alexis Rose, Alexis's spirit. Wraith gains additional movement speed.
Just note that this isn't going to be the first time you're going to be seeing Alexis Rose. She'll be back later.
And damage while charging his weapons. Okay. You got some challenging names today. Corithar Forager, Blacksmith's Bane. Positive effects on Zealot are stronger after teleporting. Interesting. Okay. Osvermis.
I got a little close there. It's pronounced Osvermis Vended.
Osvermis Vanded. Oh, what did the chat say? I asked the question, and yeah, see, I'm right. What are kilometers?
That's honestly what I want to know, but at the same time, I don't need to, because I don't want that info in my brain.
Oh, the UK is a little bit different from continental Europe. So the metric system is really mostly used, well, it's used in Asia too, but so once you get over into France and Germany and Belgium and Holland, all over there, and then Russia, and then, Italy and all those countries over there, they all use the metric system. And it basically goes from there all the way to Japan. And then once it hits Japan, you jump over the ocean to the US and you have miles. And I actually don't know what the Canadians are using. I think the Canadians are using the metric system too. But it's kind of funny. Okay, so Vanded's Decay. Lurker emits a shockwave that applies the rust effect after the jump. Okay. Captain Shivers. Shiver me timbers, right? Dead.
Captain Shivers is actually like a dead. So he is dead, but it's more of like his ghost.
Man's backup. Okay, you're playing on the. Okay. After pushing the button an additional time, Ocho teleports. Oh, not Ocho. I read Ocho. Echo teleports towards the hologram that follows it. Okay. Jad Parks Paragon. All right. Jad's Glee. Paragon activates a stealth system during the ability and stays in stealth for 5 extra seconds.
So yeah, now Jad gets to pilot 3 robots. He's piloted the Mercury as one of the first few pilots introduced in the game when it became a permanent feature. He came back with one of the 2 Erebus pilots, and now he pilots the Paragon.
Ah, that's kind of cool. Hey, Newbie XT, welcome. You guys laugh. Moon's like, yeah, 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers, exactly. I got to deal a lot with that stuff for work. So, we design everything. I'm what we do here is the company I work for, we design things. So everything's designed in inches. And then we've got to send those designs and stuff to Asia to be made. And then we got to translate everything into metrics. So I'm pretty good with the metric system because of work. The Scarab Lord, Ancient Ruins. Masquerade restores a portion of its durability when its illusion is removed. Okay. Jonathan Kylos, Prehistoric Being. Ooh, I like that. Lucanus restores 15% more durability when the shield returns and has defense points for the amount of durability. Okay. Nelson Soundbreaker. Shredding Rockstar. Nice. Nice. You got some music references.
And just like with Cynthia Suzumori, Nelson is in the Space Tech concert event. Used to be called the Electric Festival, but I feel like because the main robot is developed by Space Tech, I thought Space Tech concert sounded way better.
Upon ability activation, Cypher fires a death mark. Okay. Wolfric, Frostcloak, Savage Coat. Can't get the while synthesizer, I can't say the word, my tongue's getting tied, is bonded to an ally, the reflector cannot be mitigated and is 22.5% more effective. Nice. Then he says you forgot something from last time. So we've got Hito Burnett, Ice Rockets. So this is a pilot that's specific to weapons, right?
Yeah, this is gonna be the one pilot I have to change soon. Like Rhyme, Cryo, and Glacier are getting a big time reload buff in the next update, so I'm probably gonna have to change it. But still, thank you, Pixar, for giving a much needed blessing to my favorite rocket launchers in this blasted game.
Cold Breath. Rhyme, Cryo, and Glacier reload faster. All right, you guys should recognize those weapons. And faster reload would be a great buff to these weapons. They could be usable. I mean, they are kind of borderline usable, like, against the people I play against.
Yeah, exactly. Like, their damage output is amazing. It's just the reload sucks on it. And that their total reload time is going to go from like 18 seconds to 10.3 is a gigantic buff for these things. And like as of right now, like he previously reviewed my hanger in his latest recent stream, and I essentially am leveling two extra glaciers along with 2 level 8 ones I already have. That was when I ran the Curie for a while before benching it. I'm essentially leveling up 4 glaciers in preparation for the buff and looking to get a Bagliore. Then I can run a freeze monster.
But man, they're that reload, if they could reload just a little bit faster, it'd be so nice to be able to use those. I like the rockets, by the way, so Goliath. Okay. Is this a robot? Okay, it's a Titan. With the Minos being such a success, Icarus had to create another Titan, Goliath. Okay, 4-legged Titan. Wow, that'd be cool, huh?
I know the Indra has 3 legs, but come on, I want to see like a true 4-legged spider Titan, please, Pixonic.
Switching modes while being the first among combat others. Switching modes allows the Titan to choose between speed and increased firepower. Okay. That sounds cool. I like that. That sounds cool. I just subbed for Wolfblood. Nice. Okay. Primary ability, Colossal Mode. The Titan switches between 2 modes, Scout Mode. Okay, and then the Colossal Mode is more firepower, right? Built-in energy laser, applies DOT, Aegis Shield. Okay, The gun can be controlled manually. All right. And then we get an Aegis shield. Shield regenerates both modes. Okay. And it has a streamlined shape. I think that's an important fact, I think. Okay, these are the...
Yeah, honestly, like, this essentially the Goliath is a Titan equivalent to the Jaeger, which I think if the first four-legged Titan comes out, I think it should be a sniper. That's at least to me. And if the Jaeger is getting some much-needed buffs in next update, I do think they should have added an extra change to where the shield is a streamlined one instead of a dome. I think that could have made it slightly better. Especially that it's slightly easier to get close to robots a bit more. Like the Achikachi, if they are accidentally out in the open. The Shenlu, if it decides to teleport to enemies to the point where it can get into a range too, where it could jump onto your Jaeger.
Stats for the various abilities and modes. Second ability, Riot Spear. After a short delay, Titan launches a thermal static spike that tracks opponents. Okay. Applies lockdown freezes on the target enemy as well as enemy robots. Nice. The Titan also has its own movement speed. Cool. All right. Freeze slows any robot. Okay, and increases damage. So that's familiar with what we've got in the game now. Here's more stats. How many more we got here? This is the last one. All right. Is it Argaton?
It's yes, you're right. It's Argaton.
Maybe. Saying it with an American English, way of saying it. A powerful energy weapon for the beta slot. Oh, so this is a weapon. Superheated energy flow. After a certain number of hits, the robot suffers the pyro effect. Okay, cool. All right. Atherton. All right. I used to live near a place called Atherton. A place, super powerful energy weapon for the alpha slot, which damages enemies. All right, so this is the same thing, but this is the alpha. What was this? This was the beta. These are the same type of weapons, right?
Yeah, actually, it said both the alpha and beta versions at once. Wasn't supposed to do that, but if I had it, whatever. And yeah, as for what these weapons actually are, they're essentially Titan equivalent to the Snire, Scotty, and Hell, but instead of freezing enemies, it burns them with a pyro effect, which is, again, the blast equivalent of Freeze Blast. Or I could rename it from Pyro to Pyroblast.
Yeah, you just got the alpha versus the beta. Alright, and then we've got Anguish, which we have now, right, in the game? Oh, we got the Anguish.
Yeah, Anguish made way before the Anguisher and Ruiner.
Anguisher. Wolfblood says Gman is his favorite. I just happened to look over. It's hard to follow the chat and read this stuff. I don't know if I believe you, Wolfblood. But man, I appreciate that a lot. That means a lot to me. Corporation Icarus. All right, well, this is the Anguish. Okay. A powerful long-range energy weapon that strikes enemies with special highly corrosive laser beam that eats away at the armor. That's what we need against the Curie and the Eiffel. It's something to destroy that outside armor. Stats for that, and then the Vendetta. A super heavy long-range energy weapon. So this is the same thing, but this is the...
I seriously feel like Pixar somehow inspired, or it's the other way around. I somehow predicted we were going to get something like this. Like the Anguisher and Ruiner do a very similar thing. They have their Icarus weapons, their Titan weapons. They deal crazy dot damage. But the only difference between them is that The Vendetta and Anguish are laser weapons, while Anguisher and Ruiner are shotguns.
This is the Alpha, right? These two are the same, right? The Atherton, or the Anguish and the Vendetta.
Yep, they're a pair of weapons that go with the Goliath.
And I think that wraps it up. Let's look at what we've got. Well, that's okay, Red Feather. I subscribed and turned notifications on, so if you post it, it should notify me, but they don't. So, all right. So, new pilots for older Titans. Okay, so you've got Ash, who is the Scorpion pilot, becoming a Muramitz pilot. That's interesting. Shadow Empowerment. Muramitz deals increased damage. Okay, all right. That's pretty simple. I like it. Dark Backup. Oh, that's right. They have 3 skills, don't they? All right.
Each of them with 3 unique skills specific to their said robot Titan.
So Muramitz is immune to defense mitigation when he loses stealth. 1. So what is the 1? Is the 1 second? Just be cool, dude. I love it. I love the name, man. That's what we need. Everybody needs to just be cool.
I mean, you heard the man. You just gotta stay cool.
Gloom Visage. Muramitz gains stealth when it extends and stays in stealth for 5 seconds. Okay. So does this Gloom Visage kick in? Like, does the...
As for this skill in particular, this is essentially giving it back its ability to get into stealth immediately when it gets airborne and when it lands. Essentially removing that nerf when it got the point when it got nerfed.
The Dark Backup kick in for this too? So it's not just when it goes into flight, it's when it gets any stealth?
And yes, and to fix that, yes, both Dark Backup and Gloom Visage actually work together.
Man, I remember the Muramitz meta. Everyone was running that thing. Yeah, I know. It was destroying everybody because it had the stealth going up and down, right?
Yeah, I mean, that meta was that. Aside from the Shock Train Spectre meta, the Blinding Muramitz meta before it was nerfed was such a nightmare.
It was like impossible. Intuition, guys, it's the weapons that does the damage equals silver. Weapons first, then bots. Yes, Intuition, that's what I try to tell people. But everybody always wants to upgrade the robots first, so...
This is a little contradiction here, but if I decide to upgrade my robot first, I almost always set to getting it to level 5 just to get the active module. That's pretty much the only reason I upgrade the robot first, is just to get the active module. Since the active module is very important.
Kind of a hard habit to break. Okay, so we've got... Okay, so Red Feather confirms. All right. Ray Kumar. Do we have a Ray Kumar in the game? Anyways, for the Sharanga. Retro modifications. Saranga has defense points. Okay. Hot shot. Full power increases Sharanga's by an extra 20%. Alright. Scrap Duelist. Phase Exile instead applies the lockdown in Death Mode. Oh, so if you use this, you can't use the Phase Exile. Doesn't work? Because I kind of think the Phase Exile is a powerful ability. I would want to keep my Phase Exile ability.
Actually, this skill doesn't make Phase Exile unusable. It actually changes what Phase Exile does. Instead of applying like the red phase shift we know from what we know it does right now, and instead of that phase shift, it applies lockdown and death mark. Essentially, like the path, it changes the ability to mirror the Pathfinder, except it doesn't apply the Hunter effect. I think it obviously can, but like, I don't know.
Did you make one for Ether? Let's see.
Spoilers, yes, I have. And I know people who use the Aether and like it are going to be happy with it.
What we get. I think the older Titans need pilots. They really do.
Exactly. Like, they need these.
I don't know why we have to use Yang Li for everybody. I mean, he's got some, decent skills, but I just wish that we could have a pilot dedicated for the Titans. I mean,
now, spoilers, the only Titans I didn't bother making a legendary pilot for were the Kid, Arthur, Nodens, and Minos. I didn't give those ones a legendary pilot. I did make a Luchador pilot, but I forgot to mention him here, since Gman's already seen him before.
All right,
but that was off stream.
We got Sophia Starhawk for the Heimdall.
Alright, yes, I know the Heimdall's getting 5 major buffs in the next update, but I said most of the Titans need a pilot, so I was like, screw it, I'm giving the Heimdall a pilot despite the more buffs it's getting.
Stellar Wish. Heimdall's healing is increased and also heals gray damage. Okay, I think that's a good one. I think the gray damage, especially in the Titan, I think they should be able to heal gray damage.
To be perfectly honest, I think every robot that heals, like the Wayland and Nightingale, honestly, just in general, all healing robots should just straight up be able to heal gray damage. Or just get a pilot that allows them to. Like the Mender got that, and it made the Mender very good. Pilot name is Mary Leclerc, to those who don't know. But like, what I'm saying is all the robots that can heal without like repair unit or advanced repair unit, honestly should just passively heal great damage.
I think all the Titans should be able to, if they are healers, they should be able to heal great damage. Dusk, Starfall.
And this also does apply to the other healing Titans, like the Heimdall with the pilot I just gave it. And there's also the Nodens. The Nodens I will guaranteed give extra great damage healing if I somehow make a pilot for it.
Heimdall's secondary ability also applies Death Mark. Okay. And then Fallen Meteor. When Heimdall is destroyed, Glorious Death also causes an explosion. Okay. Alright. Wow, 50k. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Alright. Now we got Neo Sonia for Sirius. Advanced heal station. Alright. Sirius's primary ability has increased healing and heals 20%. Okay. So it heals 20% of gray damage, and then what's the 15%?
I know, I will confirm it later, but to clarify for right now, the 15% is essentially the increased main healing, and the 20% is healing gray damage.
What's this 15% over here? What about your rebalance, Moon Cancer? Your rebalance list was huge. We could do that. You know, let's look at that.
Oh yeah, about Moon Cancer's rebalance. Stay tuned, because there will be a video about that someday in the future. So stay tuned for that.
We can look at it next week. It's just so big. Neon Barrage. Alright, so Sirius' secondary ability.
Sirius's secondary ability deals increased damage and has faster fire rate, 12.5%. Okay, all right. 15% is extra heal, so extra regular healing, right? 15, not gray damage. Neo power. The speed bonus when deploying the turrets are increased. Sirius is resistant to defense. Yeah, I like this one. I think something like this would make the Sirius fun to use.
And way better, because I like the Sears a lot. Not as much as the Mauler, but it's definitely my second favorite Titan in the game. I just wish it was way better.
Oh, here we go. This is for Vix. For Vixen Jr.
I'll say they both. I'm sure they both would. I'm sure they both adored this pilot when Gman got to it.
Lydia for the Indra. Ancient Script. Indra's electrical lasso, increased range. Yeah, okay. That'd be a pain in the butt though, man. I don't like the lasso. It's like it always kills me or slows me down. That's the one skill I wish that Indra didn't have. Thunderstruck. Electrical lasso also disables energy shields. Okay. Legendary origin. Indra's secondary ability gains an additional charge. Okay. Alexis Rose.
There she is. She's back and is for the Aether.
Flashy cannon. Oh, here's your Ether, Moon Cancer. Built-in weapon ignores energy shields. Do you mean like absorber shields? So
Generally any energy shield. And to those curious, it's only the built-in weapon, not the Aether's main weapons. Just the built-in laser ignores energy shields.
Oh, Aegis and
this will also apply to the phase shield that was mentioned on the synthesizer and Lucanus.
Because usually energy shield is the blue shield, right? And then Aegis is the gold or yellow. So all right, next. I like Red Feather. Indra needs a good pilot. Wings of Freedom. Aether's force field has double. Yes, this would be nice. And speed increase.
Like what happened to the Seraph and Aether with their nerfs. The force field is the force field has so low durability that even if you removed it completely, nothing would change. So the force field I decided double durability specifically, since the force field is virtually non-existent.
Yes, I could get behind this one. I support this one. This is a good one. Oathbreaker's Sign. Vigor has increased Aether's outgoing damage. Okay. Finally have the weapons for...
On to those actually curious, yes. Vigor also increases Aether's outgoing damage per usage. Yes, this effect can stack. So if you go ahead and use all 3 charges of Vigor at once with this pilot, you're gonna get 30% more outgoing damage for the whole duration.
Tarantula. Alright, so we've got Shanker. Alright, and then we've got medium version. Ooh, Disembowel. Ooh, that sounds...
Now, these are the weapons for the Tarantula. Took me quite a while to come up with the weapons for them, and I think I got the best ones.
Nasty Eviscerator. That sounds nasty too. Laser cannon and rocket launcher. The weapon has a special feature. Deals area damage. Okay. Alright, so
It's a laser, but it deals area damage. Has an
Yep, and I certainly love it.
explosive impact, I guess you could say.
I mean, it says it right here: shell type, energy, and explosive.
Okay. All right.
And it's not fully automatic. It like fires the laser in a very quick burst and then quickly reloads. 3 second reload, and I think that's really cool. And also I think it would be fine for us to finally have anti-Titan weapons for main robots, which it says it right here: 20%, 25% extra damage to Titans. And no, the medium and heavy versions don't alter it. They're also 25%. And that's how it's going to stay at max level. Like, it doesn't change. Like, Mark II, the stat doesn't change, and Mark III still says 25%.
Pilot for the Ultimate Stalker. How many more we got to go here? Last one. Okay, good. Because I'm running out of time. Where did it go? Pilot for the Ultimate Stalker. Interesting. All right. Allison Crowley. Assassin's Will. Stalker has increased movement speed. Restores 4.7% of its durability. Why 4.7%? Just out of curiosity.
So, essentially, the reason for that is, spoiler, the Ultimate Stalker isn't done. But the reason for that is the Stalker essentially has the Crisis thing. Like, it's constantly in stealth, and if you shoot your weapons, you go out of stealth, and you have to wait a small delay before you can get back in stealth again. And this essentially is a built-in showdown drone onto the Stalker. And if you do have a showdown drone on your Stalker, it can actually stack with the pilot with the on-stealth speed, and the skill only works while it's in stealth. So I think that would be pretty cool.
Stealth, okay. Forgot to mention this when you looked at this mothership a while back. Okay, incineration cannon. Okay. An attack turret. Okay. Strike radius, 85 damage. Additional damage to Titans. Cool. Titans are evil. They should be removed.
Honestly, we needed an anti-Titan turret from the get-go. So I did like this. And also, I actually nerfed this before even working on it, because it was originally going to be 50% more damage to Titans. I felt like having 2 of them on like the keel, that's essentially an additional 100% more damage to Titans. So I thought 35%, solid score.
Move from the game. Range is 1,100 meters. Okay. Last but not least, 2 events. Okay. Yandy Reservoir, which is... these are the items. And then the Grant and Weaver Tarantula Lifelike. Special editions of the Tyrant, Argaton, Atherton, Aruda, Ironclad, Aetherus, Gozuris, Zolphorus, and Spirit. Okay. Sepulcher. Ooh, sightless eyes.
Also, the name of this event here also states that this is going to be a Halloween-like event. And the question marks for Lloyd here is actually a little... essentially because I don't have the name for the new robot here, but it will be someday, once I get back to working on it.
Lloyd of the Sightless Raider. Special editions, transitioning... Okay, guys.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's gonna be it for this absurdly longer than I predicted video. Certainly hope you enjoyed it here. If you even got up to this point, if you somehow managed to, I will be very happy that you actually managed to. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed this absurdly long compilation. Just be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.